Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome to our new episode. Today, we are going to be talking about the last three centers that we haven't covered yet, but we are going to today. So, before we get into that, we are excited to announce a new segment to our show. So the new segment, I don't want to ruin too much. I feel like the masters who came up with the idea should be the ones to introduce this new segment that we're very excited to have on the show going forward starting today. So, without further ado, let's bring out the amazing co-host that I have the privilege of working with, Danny and
Here we are.
Moni.
Hello,
Nice.
hello.
What an intro. What an
I
intro.
know. I feel
Lana.
so
That's
honored.
so nice. Yeah.
So I will let you guys introduce the thing, and then when you guys are good, give me the okay, and then I'll share the secret with everyone.
Oh, so hello. Welcome to all our viewers, both those live and those catching us on the replay. So today, like Moana said, we're starting a new segment for the show, the transit weather for the week. So every week we'll discuss the sun and earth transits as they move around the mandala wheel, sharing some bite-sized goodies to learn together and feel into how those moving transits show up in our lives and how we can work with them to align ourselves with the natural flow of the cosmos.
The original name of this practice was called the neutrino weather forecast.
Mm.
That's what Ra called it way, way, way long ago. And he would, for a while, he did that. Back when Facebook was still, you would like type it out mostly. He was doing the neutrino weather forecast. Sometimes on a daily basis. But this is going to be really good. We're just going to get the week, the sun, earth. I'll generally juxtapose it with the nodes because each time the nodes change, we will have read them. That'll be
Oh,
sort
yeah.
of part of the whole segment of it all. And yeah, you should start to see this show up in your life. You should start to feel it. You should start to notice it in different ways. What else, Moni? What else might we tell them as it relates to what we're going to tell them?
I think we'll kind of get into it like with the slides. I think it just kind of comes naturally, especially when you have something to respond to. Then you're just like, boop, 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 boop. Let me share all these genius things.
Yep, absolutely. So first up we have, what is it? What's in the sun? Is it the 34 or the 20?
So the sun is in the 20 and the earth is in 34. This is from May 21st through May 26th. So we just started it yesterday. We're in the 20 and the 34.
Can I say something about that? I should have actually known because all of the throat gates are in the quarter of civilization.
Hmm.
Every single one of them, all 11. So, and we're in that quarter now. Anyway.
Yeah, we can go to the next one. Next page,
Yep.
Mana.
y-
So this
Absolutely.
is showing it on the mandala wheel. So most often when we see like our human design charts, we just see the little like human figure with all the shapes. But there's also this really cool mandala wheel view of a chart. So this is how we can actually see how the planets are moving around in this wheel.
What should we assume people know about this mandala, about the wheel?
Assume nothing.
Oh,
I mean, as any like good educator is just assume there's at least somebody who is watching who knows nothing, even if there's other people who know lots, and then we
well,
could just they
well,
can hear it again.
it's really strange because so the astrology wheel obviously did the movement of the zodiacs. This is that thing in the center is us, and each of these gates represents our trip around the sun. So, or you picture this, you can picture it two ways. You can picture this wheel around the sun fixed, and as we go around, we just go through each gate, or you can picture it, which is sort of more true, it's around us in a fixed orientation. As we go around the sun, it just goes around each gate. And so either way, this is the movement of the sun and the earth through the wheel. All the planets move through this wheel. And you see the numbers are all basically, out of order, but they're still 1 through 64. They're all on this. And it breaks down into this amazing movement. Moni and I, we were talking about this the other night. What did we get through? What cross did we do? I forgot.
It was the contagion, and then I can grab my book. It's right here, actually.
Well,
Cross of contagion, and then it went into like or no, it was explanation. Then it was contagion.
right. And we actually did explanation, and then it would have been the juxtaposition cross of assimilation, and then it would have been something, probably dedication.
Yep. and then it went
Engagement.
to 8.
Contagion. So we just discussed it took us like 30 minutes just to get through that, the movement. And what I'm trying to point out here is as we move around the sun, each of these gates gets moved into, as well does all the planets move through the gates and everything that's programming us. And basically what ends up happening is this is our genetic path. This is what moves us. And the sun, earth move us the most, the nodes the next most. And we can count on exactly what the program wants us to keep re-experiencing before we evolve our consciousness, our awareness. The program's clearly interested in our consciousness, our awareness, our ideas, the things we do with them. I don't know what else to say about that, but it's clearly because here we are. And this thing is the thing that keeps moving us. It's an amazing study. Anyone who's advanced enough wants to talk about this someday. We should really put this on the show for a topic. But
Oh yeah. Those things
so
all feel like will come naturally. All the next topics of excited things we want to share with
oh God,
everybody.
there's so many. It's endless.
Yeah, and just to reiterate with this wheel, so it's going around counterclockwise. So currently the sun is in gate 20, and then 180 degrees exactly across is the earth in the gate 34 of power. So these are going to continue to move around in this counterclockwise fashion, exactly 180 degrees apart.
Exactly. And you'll see here the earth is where we are grounded. And that grounding is a really big deal because think of what it takes to grow a flower, right?
Mm,
The power and the power of the sun, which is the sun, represents our movement, this driving movement in us, um, and a driving force, and it plows into the earth and it raises up a flower, raises up what we eat, trees that live
mhm,
for 1,000 years, you name it, animals, us, everything.
mm,
And so the grounding is just so important because this is the yin, this is mother. Everything comes down to what gets grounded. The yang energy of the sun can do all the smashing it wants, but if the grounding doesn't raise it up, you got nothing, honey.
mhm.
You could
Yeah, if
make
you
the
have a
same argument in reverse, but it's limp in reverse. It's like
yeah,
a wet noodle in reverse,
yeah,
you
it's a
know.
beautiful sacred complementarity of like you can have like the most amazing seeds in the world, but if you just put them out in the sun, nothing's going to happen until you have good earth to put it into, to nourish it, to contain it, and then that with that power of the sun, then we can have beautiful growth.
And seeds is a beautiful analogy because the seeds carry the genetic information that grow up the thing. And even the seeds will mutate over time, how they're spilled. And we mutate along this wheel over tracks of tens or hundreds of thousands of years. We can see it all to when the larynx dropped, about 80,000 years ago, to when Neanderthal changed into the seven-centered being called Cro-Magnon,
So,
all of it. It's all there to when we turned into our nine-centered, to where 2027 is going to turn us into, it's going to actually blend things again. And so 34, power. And I guess what we decided was we would read the archetypes of the heading, the gate, the name, the heading,
yeah, we
and
have that
then
in the next one.
yeah, and then the gate one, right? We'll read the line one of it because the first line is always the foundation.
Mm,
This is always the far. If you want to know what all the gates are in the wheel, go all the way around the wheel in order of the wheel and read all the first lines. And they will tell you what the foundation of this archetypal power is. And each one of them is an archetype of onto itself. So gate 20, contemplation, the gate of now. It's this recognition in the now, which transforms understanding into right action. Now, understand that's a genetic way inside of humanity. And look at the chops. Gate 20 looks like one of those. If you look to the right, you'll see this was how the Chinese I Ching guys wrote it out. It looks like one of their Chinese pillars, one of those scenes, a little arch you'd see along a path that does nothing but separates the step before from the step after, right? The arch doesn't lead to anything. It's just on the path. But every time you step through one, there's always a sense of there was my step before, my step ahead, and all I am right now is this arch. And that's what they chose to draw it with. Being in the throat, it's about empowerment and it's part of the integration circuitry. So it's deeply concerned with its contemplation in the now and its self empowerment. So it really serves a dual purpose. It's part of the individual circuitry. So it's empower the other in the now. It's part of integration. So it's self empower myself. I survive now. My behavior makes me aware that I survive with the power I need to have right now. That's what integration says. And so it's a pure existential gate, keeping you focused in the present, supporting your capacity to basically survive as yourself. Yeah, I was just saying that. These are great lines. And then the last thing about gate 20 is because it's so existential and it's so right now, the melancholy there is I don't like right now. I just don't like right now. Right now always sucks. Right now always sucks. And this would be a very powerful, you know, want to numb that out. If it
Ooh.
gets loud enough, numb it out. Scrolling, you know, just think of all the ways we numb out. Um, if you have gate 20 in your body graph, you are now. This is now in the sky, and it creates a definition. The channel of charisma is empowered through the throat to speak, I am now. That's its voice, I am now. And so the first line of this, as I recall, was superficiality.
Hmm.
It's about, yeah. And so it goes through all 6 lines, and it ends with basically this transitional greatness of I forgot what the fifth and sixth lines of this are, but they're um
Realism and wisdom.
wisdom. Yes, they bring us to wisdom, but not before you start at the surface. So superficiality in an old seven-centered sense seems lame. And superficiality in a nine-centered sense says, I'm deep on the surface right now. I'm deep on the surface. I think that's great. On the surface, you probably get about 85% of what you need to build your house. For instance, if you were super quick at picking up things deeply in the now on the surface. And then the fine finished work comes over time. So this surface place is the starting. This is where humanity started being now. And it's carried us through. This gate is, if you have this in your body graph, you are right now. And if you don't know what to do with that, call in, we'll read for you, and then you will.
There you go.
Anything else about 20?
Well, one of the things I wanted to make sure to explain, so just so everyone knows what's going on the slide. So the circle with the dot in the middle, that is going to be the little glyph that you're going to see for that's demarcating. It's like a little symbol for the sun. So when you look on your human design chart at the very tippy top on either side, you're going to have that circle with the dot in it, and that's just a little symbol to represent the sun. And then
Yep,
Danny already mentioned this on the right side. We have the hexagram, the I Ching hexagram that is associated with the 20.
right. Now that I Ching hexagram is a 5,400-year-old character, one of 64. Just to keep that in mind is really potent.
Oh yeah, and just as like a little bit more explanation on that, you have the broken lines and the unbroken lines. So the unbroken lines are the masculine part of the energy, and then the two-part lines are the feminine part of the energy and that receptive. So you have the electric masculine and then the magnetic receptive feminine.
The yin and the yang.
Yeah, exactly. And then we
Yep.
got gate 34 next to look at,
Let's
which is the earth.
do it. Yep.
There we go. You want to read it?
So the driving force is right now. And this makes a definition. 3420 is a channel, the channel of charisma. It's where awareness must become deed in the now. And if not, then it hurts. And by the way, this definition guarantees a manifesting generator, period. Whether emotional or not, there can be no other, type for this definition. Um, Power of the great. Power is only great when its display or use serves the common good. Now, that is a nine-centered phrase. Back in our seven-centered way, this power of the great was the power to do what the first line called it, was simply be a bully. In our new nine-centered way, that because think of what 34 is pointing at, all through integration, right? It empowers integration with the sacral, and the sacral sustaining empowerment is obviously, that's the life force of this planet. And so as that empowers the other gates, 57, 20, 20, and 10, you've got individual circuitry and you've got integration circuitry. And so both of those are trying to force out its power to empower the other and itself now, just like 20. So both of these gates are working as a power to empower right now. And when you sum it all up, the channel itself just says busy. I am busy. I am busy now, even if they're not even doing anything. Hey, dude, can you know I'm busy? Hey, you want to know I'm busy, right? Busy what? I'm whatever. whatever. I'm gonna go cut the grass busy. I don't know. Um, and there always a sense of pressurized busyness, and we need that. I would like to point something out that you and I would totally get behind when this definition is in place. Um, Obviously, it serves several different of the incarnation crosses, but think about how this serves the vessel. I mean, gate 10 isn't part of this channel at all. The channel hugs gate 10 and it sits there protecting the vessel, saying, Vessel, you can tap in anytime. You will always be self empowered because that channel is strictly integration. So it says that the love of yourself on this planet is supposed to be first and foremost a self survival skill. And we'll make sure you have extra juice because this is in opposition in the wheel, which means it'll show up more often. It'll show up more often. Um, and so that's what this is doing. So that's the grounding. The grounding says, hey, so what you should be feeling this week while this is in the sky is basically, I'm busy now. I had energy I didn't realize I had. Oh my God, it's showing up. I want to get this done and get that done. Oh, I notice I'm deaf to the other, sort of. I'm busy. God, I can't tell what I should do. I'm busy. And the world keeps giving you things to respond to. And if you just be yourself, you'll start responding to everything. And then you'll get burnt out a little, and then you won't, and just live it because lots of stuff gets done when 3420 is in the sky. Just plan a break afterwards.
Oh yeah.
Is that true? Is
Oh,
your
absolutely.
experience?
As an undefined sacral being, as a projector, like I know when the 3420 is lit up in the sky, like I will, when I'm up and about, like I will have energy to like do a whole bunch of stuff. But like it definitely is like really big up, and then it's just like go, 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 go. And if I'm in that shadowy, not knowing when enough is enough with the undefined sacral, then I can definitely like wear out myself and just get super buzzy and do too much. So definitely recommended for all my projectors, my manifestors, my reflectors, my undefined sacral beings. Like you can play with this energy, enjoy it,
All
enjoy
been on
that little
board.
bit of buzz, but like
Yep.
you're getting high on someone else's supply. So know that like try to lay down more frequently. You don't gotta sleep, you don't gotta nap, I don't care what you're doing. Just be horizontal so you can discharge some of that energy, because otherwise it can just be like buzz, 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 and then you'll eventually break.
And you will fit the definition of myself. I'm busy now
Yeah.
because I have this definition in my body graph. That's why I don't really notice it that much,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So the first line of gate 34 is it? Can we go into the first line of gate 34?
Yeah, we can. Did you read the potent and impressive source? Did we read that part?
No, I don't think. Oh, yeah. Can you read that? You're
Yeah.
right. Sorry,
So
missed
no,
that.
it's fine. So the gate 34 off of the sacral, right? It's that pure power. It's a potent and impressive source of energy, empowering us towards individuation, displaying and celebrating your uniqueness to the world.
Literally. And 34 doesn't always feel so celebratory, but it wants to. It wants to, and in an awake world, it would.
It wants
Uh,
to feed it.
it just wants to feed into the release of its power. And
Yeah.
when it's awake, it wants to do that. And when it's literally like awake, as in not sleeping, that's what it would care to do. Please give it tons so you can wear itself out. Is what I would call it. And this again, the earth is with the cross in the center. That's the symbol. And on the right hand side, the chop. They had a meaning for each chop. So this one was this tiny little cup that's supported by a big heavy base. That's sort of what this looking at. And so anything you put in there is gonna sustain and stay right there. Literally, they came up with a meaning of each of these different configurations. I can't do it justice. We should all read the I Ching one day, but that deep fluid meaning that they would come up with as they would stare into this figure of a hexagram on the right, they would then write some poetry about it. So pretty
Good
cool.
stuff. Yeah, and then the line one is the bully. It's the indiscriminate use of power.
Yeah. So this is a crossover from our seven-centered way. Just mind you, busy now with all my power right now in an act called survival right now, because that's what integration is in self-preservation and survival, period. Self-concern. So all this power coming out of this gate is literally just we needed this. We needed the bullet. So look at lines 1 through 6 as an also larger evolutionary path. Just like we got through the realism and into the wisdom of 20, 34. What's 5 and 6 of 34? Because I have 20 gate 5 and 20 and 34 gate 5.
So line 1 goes from the bully, and then line 5 is annihilation, the total elimination of resistance. And
That's
then, should I go with line 6 or should I
Yep.
pause?
Yeah, line 6.
So line 6 then goes to common sense, knowing
Right.
when enough is enough.
Hello. So when you every time you read up on a gate from 1 to 6, you're also reading a larger evolutionary path. I mean, we're all supposed to be getting to the 5th and 6th lines of things at this point as it relates to our own evolution in humanity. So we started as a bully. We needed it. This was a guaranteed must-have in humanity, even through Neanderthal into Cro-Magnon. Because what did this do? It put its shoulder to the wheel. Is you just have to bully the tree over. You need to get the liquid out of it. You know what I mean? The woolly mammoth's coming
You got to
after
get
you.
stuff done sometimes.
We got to hunt. We got to whatever. Everything was a bully job. You had to bully everything just
Yeah.
for a roof over your head.
Yeah,
You know,
nature's tough. Like nature's
nature's
tough. We're
tough.
very comfortable now. We're
What's this,
extremely comfortable now. But
what
like
was that
getting through
TV
like some
show?
hard stuff, woof.
Yeah, what was that reality show they threw you on alone and naked or something on an
Oh
island?
yeah, yeah,
Right?
yeah.
You
The
had to what, last
Survivor
a
times
week
10.
or something? Yeah,
Yeah.
or a week or a month. Yeah, so that's a big deal. So that was them. So we needed this. It was a must-have, and it stayed with us this whole time. So that bully, literally in a nine-centered being, that bully is about the power to stay with being yourself. And I have to tell you, this is again, gate 10 of the vessel of love demands that 3420 serve it, essentially. I mean, because there it is. It's only on the left-hand side. 3420 doesn't serve much else. It doesn't touch the right. It doesn't touch the head. Doesn't touch the root. All it touches is the spleen and the and the G and the now, the throat. And so it's pretty potent that way. So the bully now is the bully to be yourself. Think of when you are yourself, like out loud. It's an offensive act, right? You got to show up with power or you're going to buckle. Right? I mean,
Yeah,
when you're
yeah.
authentically yourself, there's so many circles that it's like, will you tone it down? Will you be normal? The madness of normal mind, unbelievable. Um, right? And so, in a nine-centered awake generator, or anybody really with this gate, the bully is there to, it's a perfect foundation of gate 34. Screw you, I have power to be myself. That's our main survival. In the beginning, at seven-centered beings, it was, I don't even know to say screw you, but I got to go kill it. Right. Um, and so we've always needed this, and it has pushed us towards, dude, so many of us have common sense. The common sense is trying to win out the stupid info wars going on in our nations, right? Western nations these days. There's a lot of common sense talking out there saying we gotta quell this nonsense. And annihilation, I have that gate, that line. It's a power that tries to annihilate the resistance and then return everything to a normal function. That's the realism. The realism is you can't keep it there. You can't stay mad. You can't stay power on. You'll burn out. It's only there for releases, and that's all it's for. And it annihilates very when there is reason and when people have realisticness going on in gate 20. The annihilism, to annihilate the resistance, is really to help set things straight again. Because if there's a bunch of chatter and a bunch of stupid going on, the bully comes in and in a more fifth line way projects out, right? Universalizes. No, not that, this. And when do
Mhm.
they? Right now. And how long did they contemplate it? Like a good generator, responsively in the now.
Mhm.
So yay.
That's,
That's grounding. That's what we're supposed to be. So all the babies born today, this is the phoenix.
yeah.
All the babies born today are right now busy little phoenix babies. Yep.
Mhm.
Hello world. So I'm
And
done. I feel
yeah, I
good.
feel good with this side. We got one last slide.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
just
love this one.
isn't this one fun? Just to like show the polarity aspect of it and like that relationship of the wheel and those the gates that are 180 degrees apart in that polarity. So if you notice with the hexagrams on the left side, we have the sun, gate 20, and that now and that contemplation. And we have the feminine gates on the bottom with the two masculine yang gates up top. And if you notice the earth in 34 power, it's an exact mirror. So they
Yep.
offer us a mirror in this energy where the four bottom ones are the yang, the two top ones are the yin. And
Oh
within
yeah. That looks like an incredible polarity when I see this, doesn't it? It just looks like an incredible polarity, holding it in like a magnetic pull, making
Mhm.
this, something that would be a life force inside of humanity. Who came up with the keynotes? Heaven, thunder, wind, earth.
That's what the I Ching. So like the three open broken lines are the feminine, that's earth, and then are at the very bottom of them. And then on the right side, the three closed ones are yang, that's the pure masculine, that's heaven. So it's kind of interesting that 34, which is pure
Whoa.
sacral power, is heaven, is thunder over heaven,
Wow.
right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then
Heaven is really cute, but I need to display power now.
well,
Right?
an
Is that what?
expression of it, right? So it's like
Right.
the heaven, the beauty, the majesty of it, and that thunder expressing the power. And then on the flip side, with the 20, with that contemplation, the now, it is grounded in the earth, which is that receptive, and the wind, which is always blowing, and it's blowing in this present moment. What is the wind doing in this moment?
Wow. Well,
Mhm.
yeah, the wind is moving the pollen around and planting the earth.
Well,
That's one of the things wind does. That's probably its primary function. I wouldn't doubt if we were able to ask the gods. They'd be like, well, wind, we want weather and we need some rain, but we need to move those seeds around. You know?
yeah,
So
how
it's
beautiful and perfect the creation is just
yeah.
like awe-sounding.
I always imagine I'm talking to God as if he's like some dude from 34th Street that's like common sense and I can chill with.
Oh, yeah. One of my, like, ongoing jokes with my boyfriend is anytime it's like, "Jesus Christ," and I just imagine popping in like, "Yes, hello.
Hello, hello.
Hi,
You
I'm
keep
here."
calling me. It's rather annoying.
But yeah, so do you have anything else to say for the transit weather?
Just
You feel
be
good?
busy now, enjoy your busyness now, and remember contemplation doesn't happen the step after the little crossing in the path, and it doesn't happen the step before. It only happens right now, period. Like an
That's so
event
good.
horizon, right? An event horizon, series of event horizons. That is what contemplation is. They're always right now, always right now. A second later now, a second later now. Live there. You'll love it.
I feel so good. Thank you,
Yeah,
Danny.
I like it.
That's
I like
wonderful. I love it.
Yay. Thank you for pointing that out to me, Molly. Now I'm all blushing. I don't even know what to say.
So that's our transit weather. Thank
Yep.
you for being part of that for our inaugural episode of the weather.
Did
And
we
then
did we
now
go long?
I don't know. I think it was perfect.
All right.
So now we'll go back to our regularly scheduled programming. And so we're going back to do our final part in our three-part series about the centers. And we have the last three centers to do today.
Can I say one more thing before we move on?
Sure.
Is just to realize we're going to do this again next week, and it will be different gates.
Yeah.
This is changing. This is changing. So just last bit of putting all that together.
Yeah, it'll be fun. I think it's like a fun way to share little bits of human design without overwhelming and giving people something like, hey, this is happening right now.
Look around, you'll see it. So, all
Yeah.
righty.
So now we're going to continue our series on the centers. And next up, we have the solar plexus center, the emotional solar plexus. So on our little design, it's that yellow triangle on the right. And it is an emotional awareness center. And the themes for it are the solar plexus center, a hub of emotional awareness, creativity, and desire, acts as a bridge between our spirit and the physical world, with emotion sometimes serving as a veil. Physically, it's associated with the nervous system, the lungs, the pancreas, prostate, and the kidneys.
The gut too.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's part of the nervous system. There's a neural network waking up in our gut. Most people are aware of that.
Yeah, and
It's
the
sort
vagus nerve, right? Because the
of
vagus nerve is the one that goes into our gut because it's called the
probably,
vagus
yeah.
nerve because of it's a vagrant and it hits so many different parts of our bodies.
And so around all of that, inside the gut is an actual neural network, just like in our brain. Little dendrites come together and allow electricity to go back and forth, and they're storing knowledge and awareness, just like our brains do. It's a neural network. It's thinking. It's going to wake up in 2027 the rest of the way. It's going to start to talk. we'll be infants at that. We won't notice it for maybe the first bunch of years, for all I know. You know what I'm saying? First few years anyways, but it'll be there. And there's there's a mind waking up inside our gut. So that's a pretty big deal. Just want to say that. That's our, the biology of what we can count on.
Oh, absolutely. So for the defined solar plexus center, so if in your chart this is colored in, then blocks and low expressions you can be aware of are fear's intensity overload. It worries their emotions will overwhelm others, because anyone who has this undefined, you're going to be feeling that amplified times two. So if in your chart that's white, that's blank, then you're going to be feeling other people's emotional energy. So sometimes the people who have that defined are like, oh no, like they can kind of feel bad, like they're going to overwhelm people. So they might try to like hold it in. So another thing is desire aversion, avoiding strong desires due to fear of disappointment.
Yep.
Especially with that wave going up and down, right?
Why even try? The depths and despair. If you have an emotional solar plexus, there is no truth in the now. Even if you're a generator, you're collecting those responses. These responses add to the tapestry of the wave, which brings you from hope to pain and back again with new wisdom. But again, and that's just, I could go on forever. So
another thing, it could be misreading rejection, over analyzing others' actions and fearing judgment that isn't there. I mean, emotional projection, blaming their emotions on other actions when it's just their own inner wave that's going up and down.
Yeah.
Emotional disconnection, can become numb or detached from their feelings. Always the up and the down and the up and the down. So with emotionally defined people, for them it's that, like as you said, the hope and the pain, the hope and the despair. So when they're in a low part of the wave, they'll be feeling that depression, that despair, and oh no, am I going to be like this forever? Is it never going to go up again? And they can kind of get stuck in that low sad place. And then even when it does shift upward and they can be in this place of joy and hope and excitement, then there could be a fear of, oh no, this isn't going to last, it's going to crash again. But I would suggest for people with that emotional definition of, no, like it's going to go up, it's going to go down, it's going to go up and down, and that just, you're the buoy, on it. So when it's down, don't worry, it's going to go back up again. Don't get yourself stuck down there by worrying. And when it's high, enjoy it and just know it's going to go up and down again.
It literally is. And just keep remembering is that the last line? Read the last line.
Last one. Yeah, the shame-based suppression hides emotions due to shame or fear of judgment.
Yeah, all of these things. So notice it's talking about a lot of low, dark, sort of low vibe stuff. That's the not self of much of this. That's what we're reading essentially, right? The lower expressions. Yeah. So solar plex. I mean, is now a good time to talk about what the solar plex is doing? Or should I wait for the next
this
slide?
one? Well, this is a low expression, so maybe on the high one. Yeah, I think this will fit more.
All right. Yeah.
Should I read through these?
Please, yeah.
Yeah. So for the high expression for defined solar plexus, right, when that's colored in, the emotional master, possessing exceptional emotional intelligence, an empowered response, maintaining control over their emotional state, knowing it's going to go up and down and up and down, and don't let it overtake you.
The control. Let's just flesh out that word control. You're not in control of a damn thing. Just understand that, because where we think of control is like some form of mental thing that we can therefore think and therefore do, and now we are, quote, in control. None of that is true. But the control the statement is clearly talking about is the control of being so aware that you're in control of your actions as you're going through it. Yeah, and stuff.
That's a really good like clarification on that, because it's like you can't control the ocean, like the ocean's going up and down. You're just riding on it.
Yeah,
but being able to like maintain control over your sense of self and how you're going to respond to these emotions going up and down within yourself. We always have power over what we're going to choose to do with it.
Yeah, and in that expression, bawling your eyes out to you in that moment says, no, I'm in a process. I need a good cry. That's emotionally aware.
Ooh,
right?
That's good. Yeah, that was good. So the next one is unfazed by surroundings, not letting external factors dictate their emotions. And then there's a deep
nothing, being aware that nothing dictates the emotions. The emotional solar
The
plexus is
wave is just
aware.
doing its thing.
The wave is doing its thing, ex parte of you.
Mhm.
Very invasive if you think about it. It's kind of a little bit, hey, what the hell?
Yeah. Well, it's like I like to see it as like that buoy, right? Of like that emotionally defined person is going to be like up on the wave, and sometimes it's low, right? Like that boat is just going up and down. You can't
Yes,
control the ocean, right? That fisherman can't do shit to like control the ocean
right,
besides,
right,
hey,
right.
I'm going to
You-
learn how to navigate it. And when there's a swell coming in, I'm going to do these things to prepare myself because like the water is getting rough, and knowing that like eventually the clouds will clear and the storm will pass and we'll be on like easier waters.
Yeah, and the wise fisherman will always know, right? Someone comes along, this will steady your ride, this will make it all better. They're, yeah, whatever. No, no such thing. So the buoy does not contemplate that it goes up and down. The buoy
Mm.
is choiceless, and in its motion and throughout the buoy's life, it will go up and down choicelessly. I think that's pretty. I love the buoy one because it's choiceless.
Yeah, it's like you're just going up and down, so enjoy the ride. Right, so
Hey,
there you
buoy, you okay out there? Yeah.
go.
Going up and down.
Just riding and enjoying it, right?
Yep.
Accepting the emotional flow, right?
Yep.
Navigates emotions without needing to fix them. The wave is going to come and go. You can't do anything about it besides learn how to ride it. And being an emotional mentor, guiding others towards emotional intelligence, right? Like, people who are emotionally defined, like they're here to be like to learn how to be wise in riding that wave, right? Of like they're going to have that consistency within themselves of their wave and how it works. And like there is a lot of wisdom to that and learning how to handle that appropriately. Because everyone who's got it undefined, like we're feeling that times double. So like the undefined emotional people can sometimes be the emotional ones because we're just reacting to everyone else's wave. So the more in line the defined solar plexus beings are, the better it's going to be for like all the rest of us who are picking up on it, because then there'll be more of a emotional awareness and a clarity that will just feed through everyone around.
Absolutely. These high and low expressions are so important we get a good grapple on because this is the only center in the body graph that's split up 50-50, and it's really closer to 51-49 with it being weighted towards
The
solar plex
emotional.
definition. Yeah. And that's on purpose. Again, I'm no longer of the mind that we're not of some form of an intelligent design.
Oh, it's too perfect. It's
It's
too
too
perfect.
perfect.
Like it's too precise. It's
And,
too perfect.
and it keeps showing up in a trajectory that has a clear goal to advance consciousness.
Hmm.
I
Yeah,
mean,
there's
it's
such a deep love of us as the creation, that things are so precise and they are so beautiful, right? Like this, the sunset is too perfectly beautiful. A total solar eclipse is just too precise to not know that there's something more that is deeply beautiful and powerful and organized and that loves us greatly.
all of it. And same thing with it again in our designs. It's a type of thing that it never anymore do I ask about in essence the intelligence of the design of it all, because clearly there are forces with an agenda and they want us aware, and everything points to it, and you can't find any exceptions. I'm yet to find any exceptions that don't support that. So obviously I'm a good scientist, I'm going to keep waiting and just stay open, but as an aware being, have been in my experiment for so long, I know, and it's really good. Do we talk about the plexus now, or do we go through a couple more bullet points?
I don't know. Let's read a bullet point and see what you respond to. So, for healing defined solar plexus center blocks, again, we're still talking about the defined solar plexus people. Embracing all emotions empowers me to heal, serve others, and take full ownership over my emotional experience.
Let's get through these, and then I'll talk about the
There you
actual.
go. So
Yep.
it's like I know if we just start doing it, you'll like have that like immediate knowing.
I'll answer all the rest of them accidentally. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
exactly. So let's get through it, and then you can tell us all
Yep.
your good bits. So
Yep.
for the undefined solar plexus center, so everyone who has that white undefined, it's not colored in your chart, right? We're picking up that energy from other people and the planets. These shadows and low expression are being overwhelmed by emotions, feeling easily overloaded by their own emotions.
Mm,
There can be boundary issues. I'm like, I know this game.
yeah.
Struggling with setting healthy emotional boundaries because it can be tough. Because like if you're undefined, at least this is what I experience as an undefined emotional being, when I'm around emotionally defined people, it can be so intense, right? Like that wave, right? Like, and imagine like an actual fluidity of viscosity is how I feel that way, right? Like when somebody is in that low despair part of their wave and it's so heavy, it's like molasses. It can just be like, oh my God, I'm going to drown in the great molasses flood, right? And then when people are in like a happy high mood, it's like the wave is like light and bubbly and fizzy, like champagne. And you're like, oh, fluttery, 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 bubbly, right? It can be really fun. So when we're undefined emotionally, it's like because we feel other people's emotions so greatly, we can like, I know I can like get a little too carried away and like, if I try to keep everybody happy, then I won't have to feel their heavy emotions and I won't have to feel the molasses. Maybe I can
What is
keep
that?
them
What is
feeling
that doing?
bubbly.
That's
What's that?
avoid. That's the not self theme of the open emotional solar plex. That's the avoid trying to avoid the confrontation, and
Hmm.
which ends up avoiding our own truth. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's a rough one, right? So we can also have, there you go, the people pleasing, right? Prioritizing other people's feelings above our own because we feel other people so much. It's just like I don't, my emotions aren't even coming up. It's like I'm just so freaked out about everyone else's, right?
Mhm.
Could also be emotionally avoidant, preferring to numb and avoid their emotions. You're like, this is too much. I can't deal with this, right? And like, there's not a shortage of ways we can numb ourselves out emotionally. So be careful, right? And that discomfort with feelings, feeling generally uncomfortable with emotional experiences.
Right, and all of these things can scroll together in various degrees. Ultimately, what's happening is you're amplifying the emotional wave of the other. There is no protection for it. It will go through you. Setting boundaries is something I guess you would do for yourself, but you wouldn't want to put that voodoo onto the other best you could because
Yeah.
it's not their fault.
And it's
Um,
not on our role to like stop somebody else's
Right,
stuff.
right,
We just control our
but
own.
you still have to set a certain boundary because you do have to protect yourself because if that other person is acting out of what they're not, which happens all too often, what happens with the emotional wave is it's your fault.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You brought me down. Why didn't you do the thing? And so that can happen. Another
Yeah.
thing that gets confusing for this emotional wave as it moves down is friends and people that love you asking what's wrong. And suddenly your mind goes to work trying to come up with a reason. You
Yeah.
can't identify the actual reason. You can identify corollary events that, have a temporal proximity in time. So, that obviously are part of the whole thing, but that's not why the wave moves. The
Hmm.
wave just moves. Plenty of other times the very same thing could happen and the wave wouldn't move. So the wave moves to bring what the wave is supposed to do, clarity. And as we are open to it, we amplify that movement. And so it gets really difficult at times because it comes in hot and fast and hard and hot. Yeah. And it can come in with lethal force, frankly. Yeah, I have absolutely no doubt that that crazy bursted, melancholic moments of depression, needing to avoid all of that, have cropped up to do some pretty horrific things. And
Absolutely.
yeah, so we need to clean it up. And this
Mhm.
is not what Moni's reading here is essentially this is all what we're not. When we as we wake up to ourselves, all of these phrases that we're reading through are get totally retooled and smoothed out. They're a little easier. You could end each one of them with blah 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 blah. And so what? Blah 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 blah. And yeah, so what? Oh well. That's what ends up happening as we clean this up. It's up to us. We have to make peace with this emotional wave. You know what I'm saying? Because
Oh
it's
yeah.
not.
Oh yeah, and it's like perfect. Like I think you like what you just said ties so perfectly with what you said earlier too, of like, the boundary things. And it's like we can't do things for other people. Like we can't do to them that like, oh hey, you're the one with these emotions and you stop doing that. It's like that's not our role. And then we're just caught in that victim, right? That somebody else is doing something to us and like putting ourselves in this belief of powerlessness, right? Where it's just like, I encourage people to take it back to what they can do in this situation, right? It's not, hey, you stop doing that. It's okay, I'm going to do differently. Or maybe I'm not going to hang out with you right now. Not necessarily avoiding, but just kind of protecting and not getting lost or just knowing, hey, that's somebody else's emotions and maybe they're in their low place and that's not my business and I don't got to deal with it and I don't got to feel bad about it and I don't got to get sucked up into it or come up with a whole big story of what this is when it's their emotions that we are feeling empathy for and thinking it's our own. So just remembering, hey, these emotions are going through us, but they're not our stuff,
They're not ours.
and
It's not
having that
ours.
sense of self-empowerment to not just blame somebody else, because sitting in a blame ditch, it's like you're never going to get out of it besides getting the fuck out of it and just making a decision for yourself of how you're going to live your life.
Generally speaking, run an experiment as soon as things are running emotionally hot and you're open. If you're open emotionally and you start to realize these words echo back to you and you start to realize, wow, I'm running hot. This is that thing. It's moving through me. It's not mine. Step out of the room. Watch and find the little equator spot, the little town limits, right? When you're moving from Odison to Chester, or whatever, you're entering Chester. So find the state line and you step over, it's gone. And you step back, oh, there it is. Find it. You'll
Yeah.
see, oh my God, it's an energetic exchange. I really don't have a choice.
Mhm.
I'm just stuck with this and it's not me. And then suddenly you start to realize, well, I can start to hold space for this emotional movement, but it's not mine. And if they start, this is where the boundaries come in, because very often the emotional person will start to think that you don't care enough. It's a common thing because
Mhm.
I don't care in a sense. You're the one who's getting smarter in a process guaranteed to make you more clear and more intelligent. And I'm supposed to like feel bad for you, you know. That's
Yeah.
part.
Yeah.
Not to me. Go
I Oh, I was just gonna share a kind of funny moment of like being an undefined emotional being, and it was a couple weeks ago. My mom was over, who's like emotionally defined and like a manifest, and you could just feel her. And she wanted to like go to a restaurant. She's like, whatever I want, when it wasn't right. Where I was like, I want to do this, and she's like, nope. And we proceeded over the next hour and a half for her to look through every menu in the local area, going up and down and up and down and up and down on her wave, saying, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? What do you think about this? And I finally had to be like, hey, like, you got to ride your wave and that's fine, but I can't be on the boat getting seasick with you. So I'm going to step away and you ride out your wave, and you just pick out that restaurant and you let me know, and then we can go jive together and enjoy it. But just knowing, like, when you're around an emotional being and they're going up and down on their wave and up and down, like, it could feel like seasickness. So being able to step away, take a break, and just being like, yo, that's your wave, ride it up and down. I'm going to be over here. Let me know when you're good. So continuing with the undefined solar plexus center, right? The high expression. We went through the low expression. So it's the high expression of this, right? So calm by choice, choosing emotional stability and managing their feelings effectively. Emotionally adept, highly aware of their emotions and experiences and experiencing them without judgment, just knowing it's passing through. Emotional navigator, skillfully navigating emotional wave and guiding others towards emotional intelligence, right? So anywhere where we're white, we're undefined in the chart, that's where we're going to be feeling that energy from other people. And that's where we can be wise about it, right? So somebody, if they're defined emotionally, they're on their wave and they're here to learn that specific wave. When we're undefined, we're going to be feeling all sorts of different emotional energy from different people, different planets, different everything. So learning, hey, ours, and they're here for us to experience, to be wise from.
And go one step further, get really nitty gritty and go commando freaking guerrilla warfare on this thing and lean into it. And you have to lean into it to see that it's not yours and you can actually hold space for that person in for a limited amount of time at least, and let them know, hey, I'm struggling to do this and I'm doing it anyways. Lean in so you can realize there is a point at which you start to truly feel uncomfortable, start seeing it. If you don't lean in, you won't notice it. I keep saying lean in. You got any other words for lean in that are cool and trendy and hip?
I mean, we'll think of it, but first, like, let's pop up this comment that we got, and then maybe we'll come up with another word. So, baby min xjp, I'm hoping I'm saying that right. I'll ask myself, what do I need right now? And sometimes it's silence, stillness, movement, music, etc., to help the emotion pass through. That's a really good one.
And so you're defined emotionally, I'm going to make the assumption. Or is
I think it
this?
could work. It could honestly work for either, right? Because if somebody's defined, no, this is undefined. That was my guess.
I
That was
love
my guess.
that.
That
Oh
was an
my God,
undefined
the
one.
gnome. Oh,
No,
thank you. Oh, Moana, that was priceless. Do it
it's so
again.
perfect. So
Um,
undefined, But I think it could really work with both, right? Because it's like for an undefined person, it's like, okay, these emotions are coming through, and I don't know where the hell they're coming from, somebody else, from the planets, right? So what do I need right now to help them pass through? Right. But even for a defined emotional person, right? Like, hey, you're riding your wave. What do you need right now? Because
Let me
an
get,
emotion is a frequency. It's passing through us to tell us something. It's a message, right? These are not bad things to have emotions, right? They're giving us very specific messages about what we need in the world. So being able to honor yourself and what your body needs to maybe you got to lay down, maybe you got to dance, maybe you got to go play some sports or do whatever it is that you do that's going to help you process through that and not just like with the emotionality.
I want to read these
Yeah.
because I'm going to stop at the first two couple of words. I embrace, and it's my emotions fully experiencing them deeply without being controlled by them. That is a huge thing to watch. They're not in control of you. You've just learned to find them uncomfortable because you had no words for it. It's a genetic process. Don't forget, we started the whole thing with this is a neural network in our gut waking up, becoming emotionally clear on a wave. And so I hold a space because it's not me. Once you start to see that, you start to realize that's not me. Oh, look at this being. They're going through the thing. And it turns dispassionate to a degree because, dude, if we're not defined emotionally, that's not our particular passion in the moment. It's
Hmm.
strictly not ours. It's not mine. It's like I was watching the game, man. What do you need? In a way, if think about it, as soon as you're not defined emotionally, that means everything, even if you don't have a splenic definition, that means essentially everything is tending or totally leaning towards the spleen. And the spleen is the antithesis of the emotion. The emotion says over time I go up and down. And by the way, the down part of the emotional wave says this is where I get more intelligent. This is why I keep saying it's an awareness center making us wake up to emotional intelligence. And what is emotional intelligence? What is it? What do you think it is, Moni?
What
I
is
mean, I
emotional intelligence?
know exactly what I'm going to say.
Being able to ride it, and again, right? Like an emotion is a frequency that arises to tell us a message, and being able to receive those messages without glitching out or them getting stuck, right? That's what's weird is when these emotions get stuck and then it's like looping in your head. So I think like what we learn is just, hey, this is a message that's coming through to tell me something. And so for the defined emotional being, it's I'm high on my wave. I think this is a good idea. And I could see it from that perspective and that vantage point. And when they're low on their wave, and then they can see from that vantage point and take it in, and that up and the down and the up and the down, and just being able to like take it in and like learn it as what it is instead of fighting it. And same with the undefined emotions, right? Of just like, hey, I'm feeling these emotions and it's a lot and it's weird. It's like, okay, but maybe
Right.
I can learn from what this emotion is that's passing through from this person or from this planet, of just instead of fighting it and resisting it and trying to like contain all of it, just riding
Have
with
you
it.
noticed the learning is like a blunt learning? We don't get the nuance of every little emotional eddy and current inside of their wave. They're the ones living out all of those details. We don't get any,
Mm,
we just get the impact of it's a thing, it's pouring in, it's at about this frequency, anywhere
mm.
from despair up to joy. You know what I mean? And somewhere in between. So we sort of get the blunt version of it. And that's all you need as soon as you see it coming in. I mean, that's really all you need. Think of how many measurements that it's totally fine that we only have blunt information on, how fast are you going? About 65. What blunt information, somewhere between 60 and 75, type thing. So, um, it's a good thing on our end, and it starts to depersonalize it. What I was trying to say before was that as soon as we're not emotionally defined, we're leaning towards the spleen. The spleen is the antithesis of the solar plex center because the spleen is just simply self-survival. I don't care what the hell happened. You felt bad 2 minutes ago. Well, you're running now. You're good. Walk it off. Everything's great. Everything's great. Don't sweat it. We're alive. We're alive. We're alive. We're alive. Can you see? We're still alive. Looks like we'll be alive tomorrow. We keep being alive. That's the spleen. And so that's not emotional. That's only an awareness in the now that is so existentially now. And the solar plex says, no, slow down, become more into the thing, integrate some, come with me on this journey. And the journey, and what is emotional awareness? It is awareness waking up inside of us that brings us to a stage that we keep getting clarity. I'm clear. I don't want any more killing in this world. I'm clear. I want to feel this particular way, and when I go down, it's okay. I'm clear that every time I go down, I seem to get more intelligent. And had we been able to get to our children with emotional definition, and mom comes along and the kid says is crying his 2-minute tears, right? His 30-second tears, because that's all they ever lasted when you were little. It was a minute. And, and it's just, oh no, that's just your solar plex, honey. It's this beautiful place. It means you're getting smarter. Every time you cry, you get smarter. You get more intelligent. You gain wisdom far beyond even what magic could ask for. That's what I would say to a 4 or 5-year-old. And they would start to see moment to moment, I keep getting smarter. I keep getting more joy. It's despair to joy. It's hope to pain. I get more hope, more joy, more awesomeness, and more fun right now. You know what I mean? Let's face it. When I realize I keep getting smarter. So 4 things: smarter, awareness. Awareness is a big word, but awareness is the larger totality of our surroundings and ourselves in it, to the point where suddenly we realize we're all one, you know? Really, that's awareness. And then the emotional intelligence is clarity. It's a clarity. We all know what it's like when the emotional being, now we'll start to see it more. Everyone's watching this episode, when they finally calm down out of their wave, it's all better. And it's all better new, better, new, smarter. And if they don't know that, they're just going to go down again and treat the whole thing like it's the same problem from before, rather than an advancement where you took in what was before and added to it and built upon it like a foundation, instead of just riding shitstorm to shitstorm where everything sucks. And if you keep seeing that, and even if it's only intermittent, you'll think that it always sucks because it always seems to be heading towards it. That's not the case. It's heading towards your intelligence. I dare you, anyone who's emotional right now, to say to themselves, next time I go down, as much as I don't want to do this, I don't believe it, or if I whatever, or if I'm going to drop a bunch of F-bombs, you jot down a note. You take this knowledge with you. You attempt to literally say, did it happen? Did I get smarter? As soon as I started looking at it, did it become finite? As soon as I started looking at it, did it become finite? Did it end? Did I get smarter? Do I feel better? Am I more wise, more aware, emotionally intelligent, more consciousness in me? Those things, that's what you get. That's the juice. That's what we're after. And it is the third awareness. Up until now, all we've had was spleen, which I just described, and the mental toy box. It's like, I got the best ideas. Let me share it with you. It's mostly collective. I got ideas. I'm going to share it with you. I know. That's all it can, right? I know. Well, I believe this. Well, my opinion that we better do it this way. We better do it that way. All the leadership from the alpha, all that freaking, storytelling from the abstract, and then the unique individual. So all it did was come up with bad ideas that were never our internal truth. Mind is not our truth. Now we have emotional solar plex inside the body telling us what will be true. Please pay attention to it. It's incredible. It needs to wake up in us. That's my pitch for the emotions. You guys rock.
So I think we're good on this slide. Or do we
Yeah.
get the, yeah, or
Yeah.
yeah, I hold the second part. I hold compassionate space for others' emotions, trusting them to navigate their own journeys.
That's what you'll be doing. That's what, when you're open, that's what you'll be doing. Actually, either way. Yeah.
So this is the moment in time where Moni and I get to play musical chairs. She gets to
You're
go.
Moni, you're out.
Tag.
Yay.
Yeah, I'm out. I get to go rest and enjoy the rest of the show.
Nice. We love that. Thank you, Moni.
Right? Non-sacrals looking out for each other.
Yes, ma'am. Slave, talk.
You're powering the whole stream, Danny.
Stop at you. I'm gonna blush again. What are we on to next, Moana?
All right. Okay, so we are going, speaking of non-sacrals, I get to introduce the Sacral Center. I don't know why I have a giant typo there. Sacral Center, you can fill this giant typo in. This usually never happens, Danny. What is
Which
this?
one?
What
I don't see
type
the
of
typo.
center? This, it just says center. It's supposed to say what kind of center.
Oh,
This is really embarrassing. Wah, wah.
well, it's an energy center, sacral
There you go.
center. Yeah, it's just it
Motor?
provides energy. Motor,
Yeah,
absolutely. It's one of the motors, and it's
there you go.
the prime life force on the planet. Obviously, the sacral center, it's the powerhouse. It's the life force energy. It fuels the primal vitality. It is the sexual apparatus. Its place in the body is the testicles and the ovaries. So its literal job is to buzz with energy for the opportunity to permanently make more.
There you
That
go.
that's why it's always buzzing with energy, because that's
Also
its.
have a giant typo here, so you can fill that typo into words.
Oh,
Where
well,
is this located?
that was a
Where's
physical association. I just said it's in the
Oh,
gonad.
perfect.
It's the testicles and ovaries of humanity, the apparatus that makes
Mhm,
more.
mhm. Amazing. Okay. This is the first time I've had these kind of glaring typos, so
I actually
my
like
apologies.
the end slash. It gives it a sort of nuke sciencey feel. Yeah, that's the value. End slash is the value from what I just said. So,
I don't know how this
thank
happened.
you. Yeah,
This failed the QA test. Oh my God, we're
that
fired.
was great.
Quality
So the
assurance.
physical association was end slash.
Yeah,
You know what that
we
is?
just we just
Uh,
like laugh at ourselves. Amazing. So, defined sacral center. Don't you love this photo? It's so good.
mm. Oh
So,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So unfulfilling work drain. So you feel exhausted and frustrated because your work is not fulfilling you. I can't tell you how many like generator friends and associates that they are just putting up with the work. They're like, I need to eat, so I'll just keep doing that thing. And I'm
I
like,
hate my
okay.
job. In translation, I hate my job, essentially.
Which kind of translates into I hate my life too, because they bring
Yeah,
work home. They
it's
bring
not.
work home and they think about how much they hate their job when they're going there, commuting back. Oh, I have these deadlines I need to finish and these projects. So it's in their
Not
head all the
fair.
time.
Moana, it's so not fair. I just wish I could parlay out to all the generators of the planet that help is on the way. I mean, ultimately, we're all becoming more aware. And as you start to see it, it'll happen with you. Go ahead and hate your job. And recognizing you hate your job is actually wicked important if you're a generator. So that's why I'm encouraged by what I see on the planet. 80% of the people polled were dead honest. They hate their job. We're becoming aware that that's true, and so that would be my message for you: is just keep seeing that, and you don't hate the rest of your life. You just hate your freaking job. You're right.
Mhm. Yeah,
You
but
know,
what's the word? It trickles. So misdirected energy. You spend your energy on unfulfilling tasks due to lack of direction, right? So, I like to call this like busy work, right? So, there's lots of things. Distracting task is like, okay, if I just keep myself busy doing these things, like it could be something menial, like, okay, I'm just gonna, sweep the counters again, or I'll just, do this thing around the house again because they're trying to avoid uh
what they don't
coming
know,
what
what
they
they
don't
don't
know,
know.
what
It's
like coming to
important,
terms with the fact that it's like you actually have no idea what you want to be doing,
right?
so I'm just going to do a bunch of other stuff to fill the time.
I got so much stuff to say, but I'll wait for the third one.
Right. And sacral blockages, so you might experience reproductive issues, low libido, stifled creativity. So there's many times when people are going through fertility issues, I wonder, I'm like, are you happy with the way work is going? Are you
Right.
happy with how you're spending your energy? Or are you just stuck in one of those work
That's the
rut
That's
situations?
the question, Moana. That's the question. Are you happy how you're spending your energy? It's even better than are you happy with work? Because that's just going to get to the real truth. Do you like how you're spending your energy? And if generators, as the more they look at that, the more they wake up. And I see it everywhere. We're being forced to see how much, what the F, you know, no one likes any of this. That's like,
Like, look
dude,
at this. Look at man on this
Already
slide. Does
know
he look
that, right?
happy? He does
This is
not
like
look happy.
right. This is like he doesn't. This is like I have to go to that stupid party. Oh, stupid people are gonna say, "Hey, how are you? What do you do? I do this, and I don't like any of it, and I don't want to go. And it's 2 o'clock, and I still got another 2 hours." Yeah, it says all of that.
Right?
So
Look at those
yeah,
bags under the eyes. Like, come on now.
yes. So the sacral, as it doesn't use its energy right, this is what's so important for the sacral. Remember, if you have a defined sacral, you have a guaranteed strategy. Wait to respond. It means all of your power comes out as a response. That's what this is talking to. You don't like it. That's true. And guess what? As soon as you like something, you'll have a response that has energy. It's all about measuring what the last thing Moana said was. It's the most profound. Do you like what your energy is being used towards? That's all there is. That's it. That's it. A 3-year-old can understand it, and a 4-year-old can. I'm needing you to, as grown-ass adults, all conditioned and everything, but see it because that's what's true.
Hmm. So
Mm,
let's look at the bright side. Look at
yep.
that. Right? So the bright side is you build to create with passion. So you're designed to find joy and fulfillment in building things you love.
When is the generator designed to do that?
When? Isn't it like
When?
always? Like
Yeah,
you're supposed to
right
be
now.
always.
Now, right now, and again now, and again now. Just like I was saying earlier, this is a process people don't really animate enough. That now is chugging along. And if you even put like a half a second between them, that's not even accurate, but at least you can get the picture. You know, it's that's where we live. Try it for a minute. It's horrifying when you don't see it at first, and it's yummy when you do.
Hmm. Right? Work is play. So you enjoy the process and experience of your work, not just for the outcome.
Hmm.
You prioritize your joy. So you pursue activities that spark happiness and fulfillment.
Whether or
You
not
have,
you get a pile of dough.
right,
Right.
boundaries on your energy. You use your energy for endeavors that actually truly ignite you.
Mm.
Effortless
All
abundance.
there is. These things are so true, people. If you're a generator, that's all there is. That's
Hmm.
literally all. In fact, you don't know what's the scoop until you're oriented in response to all the stuff that will bring this out.
Hmm.
And so, yeah, we need
Right.
to have a generator session one day where we just go over more of a just the generative response because it's
Sure. Idea for an episode later times. Achieves abundance through fulfilling work, not just working harder. Right? It's like it's truly making you feel like, oh wow, like I'm putting my energy towards this thing that like really makes me feel like, yeah, I'm doing this thing.
this is read the rest of these off. I'm noticing a trend in here, and I'm going to
Yeah,
keynote it all when we're
perfect.
done. Yep.
Presents joy in creation. So discovers pleasure in the act of creating in itself. And passionate and present. So works with deep satisfaction and adapts to the present moment.
Always, forever. As soon as you're satisfied, I would like you to experiment with something and answer this question. As soon as you're satisfied, have you noticed you won't stop? There are no obstacles that actually stop you. You just move around them. That's almost every single time. Why the hell is that?
Mhm.
That's because everything that's keynoted here, you're designed, if there's not a passion that you enjoy, full of process, that you get to pursue, that has activities of happiness and fulfillment, that emerges. It just shows up and it uses your energy, and you like your energy going there, and it feels fulfilling, and there's abundance in all of that, and there's a joy of the creation that you won't stop, like I just said, because the passion is there in the present now, which is the only place you really know what's true. And
Yes.
it doesn't mean you get to be now all the time. You're always going to have to get before and after. I get that. And so that takes you out of the now. Just understand that all your decisions are made this way, starting with your response to the thing in the first place. They're just made now, over and over again. And
Now
yeah,
it starts making sense, right? So, how to heal these sacral center blocks. So, following my passions unlocks abundance, allowing me to give freely and receive effortlessly. Doing
mm,
things on my own terms attracts financial success while I prioritize activities that spark joy. So,
the
I
second
do want to
one.
say that this requires a lot of courage.
Yes, yes, Mona. Crier's courage, right? We all got to step into this thing. Do you remember the particular courage you had to give yourself somewhere along the way? Was there any particular one? I remember one.
No, let's hear it. I want to hear yours.
The courage of
If
not
you,
knowing, just not knowing. I'm like, I just responded into all of this stuff. All of it felt good the moment I was doing it. I just wanted to do more of it. And now I'm scared to death of the consequences of my decisions. They've yet to hurt me. I don't know.
hmm
It's like this profound moment I'm having right now, just realizing that. Doing the things on your own terms. That's this wicked important thing. Generators are not here to be told what to do. That was the old way. Part of the reason for the
mm,
emergence of the Solar Plex Center is to wake up and become emotionally clear that the abundance of the new way says we can't be told, we can only be asked. Being told is manifestor conditioning, quite literally.
So
Manifestors do
this
like,
actually brings us to, so for
well,
those of
let me
you who
finish that.
didn't watch,
Let me,
sorry to interrupt, Danny, go watch the episode with Kip because we have all the myths in our bingo cards.
oh yeah, yeah, that was actually really good, and so many of them are literally in there. And then, but just the thing where was I at? Tracks the financial success. This
Yeah.
was a huge one that would show up for people. As soon as you are doing the things you like, it ends up attracting. Your generator aura is open and enveloping. It is designed to pull life into it. Take that seriously. Call it a mechanic, because that's what it is. Mechanically speaking, just like little robot arms are going out and fetching life and pulling it in, it is surely doing literally that. And the more you align to it by meeting these terms, sticking to your own terms and taking the things that feel attractive to you, that's when your aura will open and you'll pull in the things that drive financial success. It's a fact. So
Right. So I have, so this thing just popped into my mind. So I have a pure generator friend who, when I tell her this, it's like, just follow your joy, like follow the things that make you happy. Her, I kid you not, her answer to me is, I don't know. Like I don't have any passions. There's nothing, I don't really have any hobbies. There's not anything that I'm really into. And that's where I get stuck. I'm like, well, if you don't know what you like, I can't help you. What would you say to this generator?
thanks for bringing that up. That's hard. That's hard. I'm so glad you brought that up. And this was a recent conversation you were having somewhere or in
This
the past.
is, I mean, it happens
Whatever.
reoccurringly. Like, for example, she hates her job, and I tell her, like,
No, no, let me
stood,
answer. I have answer. I
yeah.
have answer. So in that moment that they just don't know, because I remember when I just didn't know, it means that's true. We don't know. So to
Mm,
hold on to that as a limitation, only as a limitation, because you think you need to know, becomes the blockage that takes you out of alignment of that generator aura. Now the G center is not, and gate to the monopole isn't fully aligned into the aura. It's like an engine with a sputteringness for a moment, you're not in alignment with it. Now the open enveloping arms are not pulling the life into you. It's a magical process, guys. It's
mm,
mechanical because it's got words and we can now describe it like literally. And because it's not happening, you don't know, because that's true. Because your generator responsiveness is not releasing the requisite power that suddenly will know. And if
mm.
anything, during this time when 3420 are in the sky, do something crazy, do something nuts, go nuts, something.
Just try a bunch
Leave
of
a tether,
stuff.
throw a rope onto the stage, back behind you onto the shore. Leave a tether for yourself, but go a little nuts.
Oh, we have a lovely comment of Baby Minx.
Very true. I love that.
Very true. So I have well-meaning people in my life that try to tell me how I should do something. So
Oh
like I
God, yeah.
mentioned, she's a defined
Divine thinking,
sacral.
thank you.
But when I do it my way, then I feel more satisfied with what happens, regardless of how it plays out.
Have you noticed? Wow. So the truth just got spoke. So if every generator, if I could have Ra's wish was like, hey, when I get onto the plane, the generators are first. I'm just going to tell them how easy their strategy is and they'll be fine. Yeah, didn't work out that way, but we're maybe there now. Right. That's what he said to himself.
Right?
I
Yeah.
guess
I mean, ideally, but what we're gonna do now, unless Danny, you have anything to add to the defined
nope,
sacrals before we move on to
nope.
the undefined
Love
folks?
the last comment. I do have something to say. That last
Yes,
comment.
yes,
Thank you
yes.
so much. I don't remember the name on it, but you rock wherever you are because that was so true. Just keep living that moment. It's so true. You should do
Yeah.
something. Oh my God. One of the voodoo questions, like, what are you going to be when you grow up? Don't ever ask your children that, especially if they're
Mm,
generators. Let them tell you in response all the stuff that's lighting them up, and then they'll run around and do that, you know?
yeah. Oh, brilliant. Didn't even think of that. I don't ever ask.
Right.
He
What are you
just
going to be when you grow
tells
up?
me. Yeah,
Yeah.
he just tells me on his own. I'm like, you're a blank slate, friend. You do whatever you want. So, undefined sacral peeps. So this is for sure, if you're a manifester, a reflector, or a projector, this box is not going to be colored in. So, what happens in your low expression is you have a burnout cycle. So, you feel this constant pressure to work hard, and it ends up leading to exhaustion and ultimately being ineffective in whatever you're actually trying to execute.
Mm.
um, Inadequacy and comparison. So you start questioning your own self worth and you feel left behind despite how much extra effort you're putting into the thing. It's like you're running a race and you're like, why can't I keep up? Why can't I keep up? Why is everyone getting ahead and I'm just falling further behind even though I'm running faster? Resentment and guilt. So you struggle with boundaries, leading to resentment and guilt over resting. Like you feel bad about resting. You're like, no, like I should just finish this one more thing. I should get this other thing done. Like you put all these conditions on when you allow yourself to rest
Oh
instead
God,
of
it's
just
so
doing it.
true. I hear that, man. It is so true. That's so true, Moana. Thank
I
you
mean,
for that.
I can say this because, I have an undefined sacral and I'm trying to not do
Putting
these things
conditions.
anymore,
It's so wise the way you just put that. It's like, right? Putting conditions on, oh, the pain. Don't do
right?
it.
Right? It's just like, no, no, no. I don't deserve rest until I get XYZ things done. It's nonsense. Anyhow,
What do they
people
do, Moana? What do they do? So undefined sacral's listening right now. What do they do in that moment? At first,
so
they have to start seeing it, right? So they can get
right.
over the hump of like,
So I was going to get to that in the next slide.
okay,
The next slide. The high expressions, remember? We're going through all the low expressions first, right? Overachiever syndrome, right? Constantly striving to do more, to prove themselves. This like never feeling enough, right? It's like this never ending to-do list. It's like, I'm just going to have things to do forever. Well, yes, that's just how it works, but you don't have to, break your body down trying to get it all done in this like time frame that you concocted in your head. Like, no, there's no reason to hold yourself to those standards. It's just crazy town. All or nothing thinking, right? Feeling pressure to work tirelessly, or the flip side is, what's the point? You
right.
just give up completely. You're like, there's no point. Whatever I do is fruitless and meaningless, so I'm just not going to do it at all. Or you just keep spinning your wheels. Take your poison. And lack of boundaries. So you don't have any boundaries when it comes to like what you expect yourself to do or what others expect of you to do, and you end up feeling overwhelmed. It's like there's never enough time in the day. There's not enough energy in my body. So you just like stuck in this like
With people in subject matter burnout. With
mhm,
people in subject matter burnout. That would be like just those two things would cover 90% of everything that pours in. And is all summed up with what the question for the undefined self is. If you have you lost track of when enough is enough?
mhm.
Do you know
Right,
what?
and I was even thinking about like what Ross said, right, about undefined sacrals, right? Super slaves.
Super
Because
slave. Yeah.
when you have an undefined center, the defined people, you're taking them in and you're amplifying it. So like, Moni mentioned before, right? You're getting high on someone else's supply. So you're thinking all that sacral buzz is yours. And you're like, no, no, no. Like the funniest example of this, it's not really funny, it's mostly tragic. So I think about it. Just so what happened is I was talking. So this is a fun little thing for anyone who's watching. I'm a huge anime nerd. So one day, Danny, we're going to do a watch party and it's going to be great. But
Bam.
I was like trying to pick out what kind of energy type every character is. And I was talking to somebody and I was like, okay, this particular character is definitely a manifester because they have like an on switch and then they're very clearly off. They're just like, and they're like, I don't agree with that. And I'm like, why do you say that? It's like, oh, my brother's a manifester and he can work like a horse. And I'm like, yeah, I bet he can.
I bet he can.
I bet he can. You think that's natural for him? Wait till that crash happens. It won't be pretty.
Let's get him
And
in an honest moment right now and ask him how fully satisfied and at peace he is with these decisions that have him working at this moment, day in and day out. Your level of you feel at peace with what you're doing fully. And I
right,
would love to hear a candid answer to that because
no
it would
idea.
not be,
This was just
yeah,
like some random conversation I had with somebody like maybe a year or two ago about
yep,
some dude's brother, and they're like, "Oh, they
yep,
can work so hard," and I'm like, "Super slave, of course they
super,
can,
right,
till they
right.
can't."
Why the super slave? Because of the not self question that's being answered in a way that is now out of alignment. Remember, so now out of alignment, in the non-sacral being. So out of alignment for a manifester is lack of peace. And now the aura that's supposed to be basically, the manifester aura carves that resistance out of the way like a little digging machine and it makes its way through, right? That if that's out of alignment, what do you get? Resistance. What else do you get? Your path is not so clear. Didn't know if you wanted to go there. If you're emotional, boom, that's gonna, you're gonna move into a process over all of that. Am I even clear? So yeah, none of it's any good. Notice I keep coming back to the theme of, are we taking ourselves out of alignment to what our
Mhm.
type's aura is? Because our aura is the thing
Mm,
that touches. You and I don't touch. Our
this is
auras
true.
are what's touching.
Hmm.
And if they're not working right, that's no good.
No,
It's
right?
like
It's
parts
it's
in a
it's just
motor.
like having a chiropractor adjust to, right?
Right.
Just adjust the one piece, and then the others are going to start falling into place. But
Yep.
high expression, high expression of all our undefined friends, right? Effortless flow. So success comes naturally without needing to constantly push and work, and it just kind of glides in, right? Less is more. So one of the things I read, you achieve more by doing less and focusing on quality over quantity. So I can't remember where I read this. I think it was the
The
Manifestor book.
Druids said it, and Ra would quote him all the time that the Druids would always say, "Do without doing, and the doing gets done." And that
Oh,
was just
that's amazing.
that was
That's not
the
even what I
phrase.
was thinking about.
Yep. Yep.
But what I was thinking about is like non-sacral's energy is incredibly precious. So don't just like give that away willy-nilly. Like you have a very limited supply of, when you're lit
Stuff.
up. Just
Right.
just use it effectively.
Please. Please. And you'll be more at peace and you'll feel more success and you'll feel more kinds of like the pleasant surprise that fills your day with goodness. It's
Right,
all
that
good.
actually brings us right to our next point. Value
Right.
your energy. So you
Right.
recognize the importance of protecting and respecting your energy reserves.
And your energy reserves speak through your aura as they fulfill out what is the signature of your type. It's your first primary signpost for this experiment all the way through.
So one of the reasons why I want to like preface the importance of valuing your energy is so again this manifestor book was quite fun. It said, I always feel like I'm perpetually tired, right? I'm just going from one state of tired to another state of tired. It's just like varying levels of tired. So unlike our sacral friends who can if, having proper rest can recharge in a good night's sleep. Non-sacrals are not charged from a night's sleep. It's just not true for our bodies. So I'll wake up and I'm like, wow, why do I feel like I was run over by a truck? I got 8 hours. I still want to just lay down and do nothing.
It was what were you doing? Really, what it comes down to, by the way, for all the non-sacral beings in that rest time, it's always the same thing. You start to have to notice by the moment, by what you woke up for the next day, backtracking, and you have to
Mm,
realize, oh my God, I sort of like a runway, a plane coming in for a landing. It gets some runway, it's got some space already built in. And that's what you want to do. You want to have some space built in to where you've eased yourself into your sleep pattern. And the degree to which moving into that sleep pattern is rushed, doing things even up to the last moment. It's like, I'm going to get my full 8 hours, and that puts me in bed by 11:30. And, Moana, she's so excited because she's patting herself on the back because she's even 15 minutes earlier than that, but you rushed your ass right into it. Not fully organized. The sleep thing is it's a sacred place. Give it some more colorful words. Sacred. It's a place that is so deeply important to you guys as part of a total ritual and a rhythm to your life integrated,
Hmm.
unlike us sacral beings.
Right.
We can still totally be tired and low energy all over the place. Just means we're not doing what we want to do. But ultimately,
Right.
we can just keep napping and start again, napping and start again. We don't ever technically, if we're fully satisfied, there's a sunlight that shines out of that buzzing, sustaining sacral box that says you could probably work on half hour and 45-minute naps
Right. So
for a
one of
month
the
at a
things
time.
to think about is, so because sacral, non-sacral people are amplifiers, right? When you're amplifying, you can actually give other people a buzz too. So when other
Right,
people are feeling low, they're gonna go off of your buzz, which you picked up somewhere else.
right,
So
right,
that's a thing to keep. And that's a good thing, right? You can be
right.
like, let me prep you up. And
Yeah.
you might not be an energy being, but you can play with that. It's fun.
Please play with it. Absolutely. It's just the thing to do. You got to keep noticing this stuff. It's our
I know
aura that
I've
we
done
live off
that.
of.
Oh man, at parties and stuff, people are like, "Oh my god, people need to bottle up
You're
your
so
blood and
energized,
sell it." And
right?
it's like, "Oh, wait for the
Look at
crash.
you. And you're like,
Wait
Queen,
for
I'll
the
be paying for
crash."
this. You won't pay for it. Moana, you will not pay for this nearly as you would if you like start to see where's that runway that really says
Oh,
the Zen in me, this pretty gift that God wants me to give myself because
mhm.
it's so profound in my life to make a difference of getting this ritual that is like the same your ritual for brushing your teeth, your ritual, you got some ritual, everyone's got a ritual in their life. I don't care who the hell you are, how you
Mhm.
stir your coffee. Add this into it. It's a new ritual.
Yes. So,
Find that little sweet spot where you're
right,
getting level beforehand.
ritual of rest, right? You actually schedule in rest and downtime, and you set boundaries, and this is how you avoid burnout. So, I can't remember where I read this. I keep
You
saying that.
slide into your rest. It's the important thing, though. Just like think about it. You slide into it. You don't run up to it and start it.
No, of course. So you kind of ease into it, but it's also here where I loved this. It's your natural state is rest. It's
Right?
only when you feel
Yes.
inspired to do a thing that you're like, "Oh, I'm perked up now. Let me go do this thing." I like to think of it like, when you go look at, I don't know,
Wow.
big cats, right? Big cats
Yes.
are super powerful, but are they running and hunting all day long? No. They
No, nor
are
are they
napping.
doing calisthenics or stretches getting ready to run. They're just ready and they're resting.
Exactly. So,
Resting and ready. That's you guys.
yeah,
Dude, I had never actually heard it put quite that way. Just that's a nice thank you for that. Juana, that
right?
was
Just
beautiful. Yeah.
just think of it that way. It's like,
It's your
just
natural
give
state.
yourself
And it's an
that.
aware state. It's an
Mhm.
aware state because we're aware. Thank you for being aware over there doing that. You know what I mean? It's we need
Right?
that.
And when you think about it this way, it's a perspective shift, right? It's like,
Yes.
my natural state is resting. I don't have to feel guilty anymore. I don't have to be like, I need to do XYZ things so I can rest. It's like, no, no, no. That stuff will get done when it gets done. My body
Uh,
needs to lay down.
are you giving permission to find that right ratio? Is that what you are doing right now? I would say,
I'm
yeah.
just I'm just saying it. Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Preaching.
permission.
Like, that's what I did today. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna lie down, or I'll do these tasks while lying down, and then when I don't want to do it anymore, I'll just lay
Stop.
there.
I'll
Just
stop.
lay there,
Right. You
while being horizontal. Moni's, you know, key advice: you got to be horizontal. If you're sitting up, it's not really
it's
truly
not
the same.
can I tell you something that's so profound? So I love
Yes.
projectors. They're always recognizing stuff, those little bastards. They're just little recognition machines. Guess what she's recognizing when she does that? That our design, that our our design and our personality crystal, mostly our design crystal, reorients as soon as we get horizontal. And it
Oh.
takes its neutrino feed in slightly separately. It's different. It's
I do
designed.
remember the neutrino fields, they're not coming in at the same way as if you're
Well, they're
upright.
all pouring in, but the design crystal and the personality crystals of consciousness, these things filtering it, change their orientation. Look at them like little ships, and they got really nuke features on them. And there's, maybe the gods with the
Ah.
remote control that can control them all or something, right? They just reorient them, and suddenly it's different. And that feed pouring in through us and our genome, ultimately aware of what that is, parlays the message. And you
This is
guys
such
now
a
get
great
through that.
comment. Like you need to read this because it's gonna make you laugh.
Horizontal intermission for when I'm in between missions. Bam! Yeah.
Right? That
Hoorah.
needs to be on a shirt,
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Hoorah,
right?
baby. Yes,
So
ma'am.
good. So let's get through the last two. So
Good luck.
discerning requests, right? So you comfortably decline commitments when you lack the capacity. So I was actually talking to Moni about this. She was like, I'd love to go do XYZ gatherings, but I know I can only handle this much. So I'm going to cap myself. And I'm like, that's so wise. You need to know where your
Where it is.
energy boundaries are and
Where is it?
being
Right.
totally okay with being like, you know what? I'm going to sit that one out.
Sitting that one out. And by the way, that one is always now. You have infinite permission for going to sit that one where that one is the next half hour. Right? Period.
Right?
Forever. Infinity, forever forward. The next half hour, you get to sit out.
I'm just like, no, not going to partake in that. I think I'm just going to watch movies in my house. And creative sparks, right? You experience creativity and bursts of focus, inspiration. Like I was saying, the cats, right? Oh, look,
Yep.
there's a gazelle. Let's go get it.
Mhm.
But before that, you were what? Just hanging out,
Right.
not particularly, doing a thing,
Doing much except being aware.
right?
As
You,
ni-
you,
as
you know,
mindsets are humans, that's a
right?
big
You
deal.
know what's up. So, how do you heal your undefined sacral shadows, right? In a state of restful abundance, my desires are supported and I work with joy, knowing my actions are sufficient and my energy perfectly aligns with what's needed. So, this is the best part. It's like what you do is more than enough,
Wanna. This is a white magic spell. This is oh yeah, this is, what do they call that thing that you always put on this is
a
mantra
mantra,
material. This is mantra material. It's long for mantra, but get it. And what else? This is great.
affirmation. I mean,
Affirmation,
they're designed to look
totally.
like affirmations, yeah,
Redirecting, reconditioning, consciousness raising, vibration raising affirmation is what this is. Did you write this?
sort of.
Oh, good. This is good. It doesn't do it if we let things make part of it. No, no, I get it. This is beautiful. I love
It
it.
was, yeah, it was like taking bits and pieces of things and like what was I
Dude,
gonna
the
say?
ultimate
It's like a
synthesis. Hold on. The ultimate synthesis of this statement
exactly.
was approved by you, was it not?
Yes, of course.
Okay, you wrote it.
I
That's
put it
yours.
together and
That's
like
how it
it's like a
goes.
Frankenstein of many different things that ended up here.
Well,
That's
it's
how
not
this happened.
Frankenstein anymore, unless Frankenstein's all sexy now. You know.
That's for all of those who are like, what are you talking about? This is how the slides are born. I take bits and pieces from many different places and I like squash them together to make these slides.
Well, yeah, this was good.
Right?
Take this with you, everyone. Write it down. Take a picture, screenshot this page. This is actually
Right?
really good. And believe it. That's the point, though. Don't just let it be words on a wall. Believe it. It's because this is
Right?
what's true. Believe it in advance, even if you don't believe it now. Say, hey, the guy on the
Right?
screen was
Even you
saying
can
it's
even
true.
take little bits of it, right? Like, what
Right.
I'm doing is enough. What I did today was enough. I don't have to
Yeah,
feel bad. This was just enough. My
yeah,
energy
a
is
la carte
just
this
right for
thing. Yeah,
me.
dude, it's an a la carte one too. Yeah, you got the best of both worlds, and that's practical. A la
Right?
carte, baby. Yeah.
Yeah, take what you need. All right. And oh, drum roll, everybody. This
Root
is the
center.
last center that we are going to cover today. And I still have weird. How did this happen?
Do you,
Okay.
how's your energy?
No, my energy is great, but I'm like,
Okay.
why? This is obviously a pressure center. I
Mm.
don't know why that's missing here. It's just like, wait.
No, it was part, dude. Obviously, it's part of a thing for the whole. There's a formatting overall, and it's just hit this stuff. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Anyhow.
So root center, pressure center. There's two pressure centers: the head center and
Mhm.
the root center. This is pressure centers correlated in the body with. I'll do the physical association since I'm thinking of it. It's correlated with the adrenals of the body and all this action. What does it do? It pressures a sense, because what's it looking at? It's looking at the sacral and it's looking at the other two awareness centers, the spleen and the solar plex. So it's pressuring our awareness to basically find out what the pressure up top wants, which is what the hell, where are we? What's the deal? So this
Mm.
pressure is finding a physical balance between fear and trust. That's part of its mechanism. It's a or yeah. And it's a fear and trust where it releases its adrenal energy to then move us. You know how adrenaline moves us? It's freaking killer, dude. It's like, I mean,
Right,
a
but
sacral
it
moves us.
works in a pulse, right?
Pulse, absolute, because
Just like
adrenaline
boom,
does exactly what
boom.
we know adrenaline to do and more, because it ends up being part of that active kundalini inside of our body. It becomes part of this ancient stuff that the Tibetans gave us, that the Reiki people gave us, that the Hindu Brahmins gave us about our centers in the first place.
Right.
So it's deep. The root center, pressure center, fuels our ambition, productivity, and drive to succeed. Absolutely. One of the lines is the marrying maiden always driving at success. Uh, one of the gates in it, propelling us towards growth, absolutely, and survival and purpose, achievements, and financial abundance. I added a
Mm-hmm.
few.
Perfect. And then the physical association, I would say,
Adrenal.
is the adrenal
Yep.
system, right?
Yep. It's a whole adrenal system and everything that proliferates out from it.
Mm-hmm.
So fear
Perfect.
and trust. Yep. Got
Okay,
that.
so um, we're gonna go look into the blocks or low expression of the defined root, right? So
Yep.
misaligned action. So you're initiating projects before the root center is energized or without a clear plan, which ends up leading to burnout. So the best way to think about this is like you're you didn't wait for that pulse to come in. So you're kind of it's like those games where you're trying to keep up with the beat and you're like oh, like Dance Dance
Mhm.
Revolution. That's a good one. You know when you're like stepping on the arrows? Yeah, you're not stepping on the arrows. You're
Right.
you're completely off. So you're just like I can't keep up. So yeah, that's this. When you're not actually like in line with when that pulse is hitting and then, oh, let's go now instead of like I think it's now and you're like kind of guessing is what that is.
Force
And
starts rushing into actions, disrupts the natural flow, and depletes and saps the energy and the vitality. By the way, because vitality is actually in this center. The sense of our own vitality, being vibrant and alive, bears itself out of the adrenals and the root center overall. One of its
and
gates is called vitality, gate
right.
58.
And the last one, burnout from incorrect timing. So if you do this enough times
Gotcha.
where you're doing these weird false starts when your root wasn't ready, it is going to lead to burnout.
What do you think's causing that?
Which one? The
All of
incorrect
them, but
timing?
but certainly the burnout. Let's just go with the burnout. What do you think's causing that? Incorrect timing, leading to,
So
meaning you're sort of jumping the gun, or you just whatever.
I think
Seems
that's
like a
when you go
pattern.
into your not self, right? The minute
Yeah,
you let your mind take over and not listening to
right.
your body, right? It's like I
That's
have to do
brilliant.
it now. Your mind's like, "Oh, you got to do it now." And your root was
The
like, "Oh,
strategy and
no."
authority got thrown to the wind, and it's just scattered to 1,000 pieces. Sorry, oops. That's what the not self treats the body like a slave.
Mhm.
Oops. And it
Mhm.
thinks it's and it the not self thinks it's doing us a favor, the most dangerous kind. I mean,
Mm.
it makes for a real Karen, let me tell you. Um,
Uh,
yeah,
right. And the burnout itself, right? That's your body's way of saying it's like you weren't listening to me. Your body was
a-
talking to you. You're like, you didn't listen. So here, enjoy this.
and the pressure, because it is a pressure center.
Mhm.
So the pressure is to always be in a hurry. to feel in a hurry to be free and feel like there's too much pressure to be in a hurry. So you try and hurry up to be free of the pressure.
Mhm. Mhm.
Are you in a hurry to be free of the pressure? Are you in a
Mm.
hurry? Are you trying to multitask? Are you trying to
Right.
get everything done faster? With this
Mhm.
pressure, is there an angsty in your shoulders? Is your gut a little tight? Is there it's not yours. If you feel any of
Mm.
those things, that's who you're not. Try saying this to somebody. It's not my pressure. Notice how you don't believe it in the first few minutes, but in a second later, you will. You'll
Yeah,
be like,
it's
oh
just
my
like
gosh, that's
where did
true.
that come from? I'm like,
Not my pressure.
that's it.
It's just
Yeah, because it applies to both. So like the high expression of the root is you have an internal fire for success and it's not external. So you're intrinsically motivated, not because of something you saw outside of you. You're like, no, I want to do this because I actually want to do this kind of
right.
thing.
It's been awareness. The undefined root center then becomes awareness as to what pressure is fun to play with. It's so carnal and basic in a way that at least you can tap into your younger self to recognize, oh yeah, that's much funner. It's
Hold
a
on,
thing that you
Danny,
can look at it and say is funner or not as fun,
this is
is
the
what I'm getting at.
defined root. We're looking at the defined root, not the undefined.
Oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
that's coming. It's coming though. So
Yep.
just hold that thought. So
Clarity.
rest and recharge, right? So you value your downtime and you prioritize relaxation alongside achievement. So there's something interesting to note here. So remember how I told you about, Dance Dance Revolution gone wrong? So your body, you'll be much better at telling when that pulse is on if you allow yourself to be off. If you're not off, like I said, like resting, right? And you're constantly just like giving yourself things to do, you can't hear or feel that pulse when it actually comes in. So it's like practice. It's just like, making it easy for you to tell when the pulse actually came in. It's like, oh, okay, that feels really different from me doing my recharging, right?
There's
You
a
say,
pulse to it all, is what you're
hmm
pointing out, and it's true.
hmm
Get used to that, and it is a pressure. It's where you realize that, hey, I deal with pressure pretty well when I allow myself. That's what the defined root is aware of, and it feels like, what do you feel so under pressure for? To look at other people. It's like just it seems to deal with this adrenalized pressure to move
hmm
more
hmm
steadily.
right? And you celebrate your accomplishments, right? Not just going after the next thing, right? It's like, oh my God, like I actually did that. And like savor in the thing you achieved and say, like, okay, on to the next one, right? You don't allow yourself congratulating all the things you did do. So,
Mm,
just slow down. Slow down.
right.
Sustainable drive, right? You maintain a wellspring of motivation for action, right? You're like a well-oiled machine at that point if you're living in alignment with your defined root.
Mhm.
Pressure as fuel, right? So this is what I mean. It's like, ooh, it came in, right? Your adrenals flooded my system. I have the juice now. Now's the time to go,
And it
and you can
feels
get
like
it
a
done.
joy. It feels like a joy and a vitality. This is what I was getting at before. And a drive, a joy, a
Mhm,
vitality, a drive, a fighter that wants to start. I need to start the thing. This is all root talk that says there's no limitation here, and it doesn't matter if there is. That says
mhm,
I'm gonna
mhm.
literally be focused and concentrated on finding the abundance and making sure it supports the things I love so I can have the experience I hope for.
Right?
That's
And
I just
it's
keynoted all the gates of the root.
look at that. Amazing. And you're an inspiring leader, right? You motivate and inspire others to take action. Because when you're lit up and you're working with your roots pulse, it inspires other people to be like, yeah, let's, go do that thing too.
Mm, yeah. And it brings that, so when you're open root, basically it means you're amplifying the defined root. And when you start to realize that's not my pressure, you can start to realize, oh, my aura is more aligned and I attract more abundance when I realize it's not my pressure and I'm now deciding is that pressure I feel like having fun with. And you
Yeah.
become aware. You become, remember, emotional splenic head. We become this trifecta of awareness swirling around of, hey, and suddenly you're doing only the things you feel like that light you up and fulfill one of your four signatures for the aura to be
hmm
aligned, essentially.
hmm
And so
hmm
then the money comes.
Right? And healing your defined root centers. So, by honoring my natural rhythm of work and rest, I achieve sustainable success. I can't speak. Celebrate milestones and embrace growth opportunities on my own terms.
Always on my own terms. Remember, you're unique in this differentiated body. Every term should be your term first. Whether you give up or not is up to you.
hmm And
Yep.
then now we can go into the undefined root center shadows. So see, this is what an undefined root center person looks like when they're
Mm.
taking on other people's pressure, trying to do everything. So productivity guilt, right? You feel pressure to constantly work and you are struggling to relax.
We're
So
both
here this
open root, right? Or are you open
I
root?
am
No, you're
not open
defined.
root.
Right, right, right. Right. I am. I am.
I know
Oh,
people
tell me
are
about
always like,
me.
"Oh, it's so lucky that you have a defined root." I'm like, "It is? Okay. Whatever that means." Self doubt and comparison. So you question your self worth and you feel unproductive compared to others, right? It's like, oh, look at all those other people getting all this stuff done. Like, why am I not
Not
getting
moving
as much
enough,
stuff
not
done?
having done enough, can do enough, should have done more.
Yep.
Should have done more.
Yep. Procrastination trap, right? Falls into the pattern of delaying tasks due to guilt and overwhelm. You're like, oh
Period.
man, I feel so
Pressure,
bad. I
pressure,
didn't do the
pressure,
thing.
pressure, pressure. Yeah, and the not self mind is holding on to that, saying, "Oh my God, there's a pressure signal. This must be bad. I'll think of stuff. I'll start thinking of stuff," and it can never think of what will make that being's body, if it's a generator, let's say, want to pour out satisfaction and energy. Mind can
Mm-hmm.
know, you know,
Mm-hmm.
might bump into it once in a while. That's the best it'll ever do.
Right? External validation. So you seeks success as an escape from internal pressure, not as fulfillment. So it's like, oh, if I go make this thing happen, right? This is what Danny was saying. I'm gonna get rid of this pressure. I'll do this thing so this icky feeling goes away. Not necessarily
Right.
because it actually makes you feel joy.
Following the not self slave voice of the not self seven centered mind still with us that says, hey, you've lost track of thinking you need to go too fast. Hey, are you in a hurry? You are. You're in a hurry. You know what? It's better if you're in a hurry. You know what? Be in a more of a hurry and hurry up about it while you're at it. Especially to be free of this pressure. Right. So are you done yet?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right?
Are you done yet?
Focusing on rest as reward,
You
right?
just
This is what I was mentioning before, is you view relaxation as a prize after work, not a necessity, right? There's a little bit of overlap here with, the sacral center, right? Rest isn't a
sure.
reward. Rest is just rest.
Right. Right. Right, right, and it's intelligence. It's intelligence waiting. It's called adrenal fatigue if you don't. Again,
And
everything as below is mirrored above, literally through these,
no, that's a
as
good
is
way to
below,
look
it
at
so shows up above, just period. There's a direct
it.
in a direct line.
Right? Burnout prone. So you're susceptible to exhaustion and adrenal fatigue due to unhealthy work habits. I was going to say, Danny, you have an undefined root. So, like, does
Yeah,
any of
all of this
that
stuff I totally identify.
resonate?
That's why I was so on 10 a moment ago, about this. I lived all of this. It still comes back. It was one of the deeper conditionings I've come to find out inside of me. You know what I mean? It's incredible,
Mm,
a mind fuck that has, from the time I would say probably 17 or 18, all the way through until I finally started to wake up to my nature. So what, good 35 years of
wow.
beating it up, more and more and more, and becoming the multitask, adrenal fatigued freak that didn't even know that that's what I was doing because I'm a 3420. So I had all that energy to do it. And basically,
Mm,
the generator, basically they can go get broken and basically recover, and they can go on like that for decades. You know what I mean? It's no good.
mm,
It's no good. A couple divorces, that of course there could be nothing of that other than my path here.
right? It
And
all led to here, right? So would you say that you absorbed stress and pressure from your
oh yes.
environment?
Yep. every little tick in my environment, every emotional wave that might have had some expectation going, every little ego moment that would pop and I had to, every little circumstance that would pop up and suddenly my responder is in overload, responding, okay, that, okay, this, okay, that. You know, I'm trying to whatever, because I'm running a business, let's say, trying to make my way. I got kids to feed. Think of all the BS. That's why we're all noticing. None of us really like it, you know. With our job, that is essentially, except for a few of us, which we herald those guys. You know, we need them.
Right. Yeah,
So
it's too much. But now we can talk
everything.
about all the high expressions of when you come out
Oh,
the
by
other
the way, so
side.
to finish off, as I woke
Yes.
up, I kept getting to say, "Hey, that's not my pressure. It's not my
Yeah.
pressure." I angered some people with that statement. I experimented by leaning in and saying it to the person who was the hardest person to say it to in that now. Oh,
Right.
Dan, here's your moment. Say the thing. It's like, hey, that's not my pressure. I've had people get pissed.
Right. Of course. It's like, how dare you? Right. You
But it's
you
still
just
not mine. It's
you
still
just
not mine.
keynoted the first thing, right? You are
I think
external pressure is released, right? You free yourself from
off the hook.
societal need,
I'm off the hook.
right? So societal need to constantly chase success. You're like, no, I don't. Why? Right? Guilt-free relaxation. So you prioritize rest and rejuvenation without guilt. You embrace the present. So you focus on the present moment, not future goals.
Picture the present like pouring in on you like a bullet that stops right in front of your eyes and you're just staring at it in the present now. That's this thing comes in, spikes in like that, let it roll. That's how it works.
Mhm. Aligned ambition. So you pursue your own dreams unfazed by other people's ambitions.
Right?
Efficient. hmm
Yeah. Keynoting Gate 54 there.
Right? Efficient productivity works productively in bursts, accomplishing more in less time. Discerning action. So you make wise decisions about which activities to take on. And a pressure management toolbox. So you possess a variety of methods to handle stress effectively. Because, stress is not going away, but now you know what to do with it when it does come along.
Yeah. You recognize that it's actually not yours, and you're here to become wise on when does your body and when do you align with your aura, strategy, and type, and authority, and when do you align to all that, such that as an undefined root, you're surfing through the pressure that just lights you up because the world is filled with so much of it. It's so good. Hey, Dan, I'm under pressure to fricking go hop in the monster mud car and fricking step on it. Okay, maybe that's the right thing to do, right there. You know what I mean? Just
You're,
boom. And
it's
yes,
playful. It's not like
it
forced,
feels
right? It's just
good.
like it's not like a need. It's like, oh, if I don't do this, right? That.
It feels good. It just feels good. It just feels good. That's a chemistry.
Like this lady, right? Look at her enjoying
Yes.
herself,
Oh my God.
right?
Dude, this is psychotic. You did this. This is psychic.
Right? So, a feeling, healing undefined root center shadow. So, in a state of effortless flow, I achieve results and attract abundance, growing steadily, even in periods of stillness,
Mm.
unconstrained by rigid schedules.
Can I say what gate this so far we've keynoted all the gates of the route. I noticed these little slides, they prompt me to want to keynote all the gates.
Yeah.
So that was the intelligence on that was good. This lady resting in this moment with that evangelical and almost godlike power of growing steadily during the periods of stillness, spoken as if Buddha said that. No, my child, first you must surrender to the sacral. No, my child, first you must surrender to the stillness, right? This is real wisdom stuff. And that's gate 52, beginning of
Right. And
stillness.
then this is a great comment, right? So that is a good expression on her face. The chaos, yet the flow around her. She is centered in her peace,
She is.
right? That's the whole point. The whole world is bustling around her, but she's not taking that on as her own pressure.
Gate 52 is the logical format energy coming off the root that says standstill, the gate of the mountain, the standstill in terms of being able to focus on the minor details and tame them, all for the purposes of basically shooting joy and vitality through the adrenals out into the life and make it roll. Joy and vitality. That's what that is.
Mm-hmm.
Sitting still prior to the joy and vitality, or with the joy and vitality. That's what these things do.
Mm-hmm. So
52 and
now,
58 are in opposition
oh,
in the wheel. That's why I
right.
bring it up. 52 and 58 are in opposition in the wheel, and this is what this is doing. This robot that
Oh,
helped come up with this some of this material that you
right, right.
used before you tweaked it, right? It doesn't matter. It's great. I'm just saying they're actually incorporating all of these little aspects. That's why I'm mentioning that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, so what happens is, yeah, I usually use like 3 different books
Yeah,
and I smoosh them all together.
right, right,
So
right.
yeah, it's coming from what's it called? Like the definitive book and 2 others and
Oh, no,
maybe
it's
another
all
one.
good. Doesn't matter. These are your words as soon as you approve them. That's the whole deal. We're
Oh,
learning. You know,
thank you.
that's how it
But
goes. Dude.
what was I going to say? Is there any other gates you wanted to keynote before we go into the
Oh,
special
no, I mean,
section?
I could get to all of them. There's just the ones on
Oh,
the emotional side are emotional
I
and
was
just
gonna
get.
say, today it's my body graph that we get to look at
Oh yeah,
for the centers. So I will focus on the 3 that we covered today. So we have our fun ESP over here. So you can see I have it defined. So I have that wave. So for a very long time I thought something was wrong with me.
twice. You
Oh,
have it
sorry.
twice. You have
I
it
have it
twice.
twice. Oh, you mean I have both of these defined? Yes.
Yeah,
No, I was
the
just
two
going them.
channels, and they're two different streams of awareness. I mean,
Oh,
you've
I
got
see.
two separate emotional waves.
Oh, yes, that I recently found out. I'm
Period.
like, great.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
when I found out about this way, actually even before that, right? Because nobody tells you this stuff, right? So everyone's like, "Oh, you're so dramatic. Like, leave her alone." And I'm like, why do I feel everything? I hate this. Like I felt like, I was like broken as a person. It wasn't until like human design, it's like, oh no, you have a wave. Oh no, this is normal for you. I'm like,
You got a
oh, I'm
lot of
not.
wave, honey. You got a lot of wave. Look
I'm
at,
like,
and
I'm
you've got,
not broken. What do you mean? This is great.
yeah, you've got
There's
five of
nothing wrong
seven
with me.
activated. Yeah, you got five
It's
of
like
seven of
so
them
nice.
activated.
Five,
Incredible.
yeah. So this is what he's talking about, the
Very
gates.
busy.
Bam, 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 bam. Yeah. So lots of emotional
Almost all
definition.
of it unconscious. Can I ask you a question,
Okay,
Moana?
let's hear it.
All right. So, um, if it's when it's all unconscious like this, all red is what I'm pointing out.
Right,
If
right.
you, except for the 22, what do you feel like sort of being intimately, personally listening to? That's what
Sure.
22 is. That you could always make a decision on. But the
Mm.
other stuff felt like a chaotic decision. What does the chaos of basically having the friction of not knowing which values you should allow to sit at the dinner table or even be near you or get into any kind of affectionate thing with, all while there's potential crisis over the expectations you damn well know you want, and a crisis you can't quite identify what it is yet.
Oh my
Has that
God.
been a
So I'm gonna ask you a question
has
in
this been a
turn.
process?
I was gonna say, can I ask you a question in turn? Because you can tell me if this is a thing.
Yeah,
Would you
please.
say crisis is synonymous with drama?
Yeah,
It's like, because I was talking to Moni today. I'm like, I have this issue, and it felt like a crisis, but her way of wording it was so funny. She's like, oh, it's so much drama, I'm good without it. And I'm like, I just attract it like a magnet. I don't even try, and it just shows up at my door. And I'm like, huh, maybe it's all these gates doing it.
it is. And they're unconscious and they're in an active, very actively defined, strongly defined emotional solar plex center. So that means they're always on.
Great.
And think about what the crisis is. I
Oh,
want to
the
think.
crisis that I had recently, someone being incredibly rude and unprofessional to me,
Right. Yeah.
which I was like, no, I don't
Right.
accept that.
But the crisis itself really keeps coming down to the not knowing and then always finding out different. That's the crisis. What if I find out different? I don't know. I don't know. It's a
Mhm.
crisis. I thought I'm not experienced in this yet. It's not going the way I thought. It started out the way I thought, and now it's not going the way I thought. And I had expectations, and I'm a manifestor. I want to do the freaking expectations. Dang it, they're reasonable.
Mhm.
I'm no dummy. I've got first line. I studied it. This is good for everyone. I can get what I'm doing, and boy, I sure need to spit this stuff out. And so it's in a sharing stream, and I'm going to share that with you. And
Mm-hmm.
David, you shared it with David a lot.
Oh, for those of you who have no idea what
Oh,
Danny's talking about, David is my husband.
hi,
That's
David.
who that
Love you,
David
buddy.
is. David is actually watching us live the first
Thank
time
God.
ever.
Hi,
He is
David.
he is
Yeah.
on. So if you want to spill, dirty secrets about my chart that you've never said before, this is your opportunity, Danny.
Why would we? No, why would we do that? Let's just
Right?
keep
And
rolling. I just want to
yeah,
keep
so
rolling.
we
I'm
did
not
the
trying to get.
ESP.
I asked you a question. I was like,
Oh,
so
right.
as
Mhm.
you started to realize this was stuff when we were reading in your body graph, like what sense did you start making of it that from before that you recognize certain lament, certain
Mhm.
sadness of what the hell, as
Mhm.
you wake up out of the fog of what you're not and you start to see it and what you are, more importantly.
Right. Mm.
Describe a little bit of that, if you
Okay.
can. And
So
how bad
I
was it at times? Like give some really good
oh,
juicies, whatever.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so one of the, I guess, most traumatic experiences that I ever had, it felt world shattering. Like world shattering, like I'm like I can't live another day. Like I was at
Mm,
like the bottom of despair. I'm like there's no coming back from this.
mm-mm.
And no one around me got it. Like they're just like, "Oh, like, you know, chin up buttercup." And I'm like, "No, this is
Yeah,
not a chin up buttercup moment. Like
right.
you don't know how earth shatteringly devastated I
And
am
as a
feeling."
manifester, you can do, right?
And
Keep
there was a
going.
few points in my life that I felt
Yep.
that way where it's like I can't go on. I can't go on. So like mental health check, like people, there's nothing wrong with you when
Hope,
you're feeling that.
hope to despair and back again. Hope to pain and back again. So like if you're emotional, you've experienced the absolute ends and extremes,
Oh,
even though
absolutely.
much of it is in here in the middle. But you, would you say anyone with, if you got emotional definition, no one got out alive? We've all experienced the full breadth of what Moana's describing, right? I would say no one gets out alive on that. They've all experienced it.
Hmm. Like
I,
so I mean I'm describing the really really yucky parts, but there are times where I'm like so incredibly
we need to
giddy
see
that
them. Yeah, we
people
need to
don't
see them.
understand. They're like, "Why are you so happy?" And
Right.
I'm just like, I don't need a reason." Whoop, whoop.
No, you
So
don't.
so and now I'm like,
That's
"Oh."
that's so
So the
right-minded of you too. Boy, I love that. You don't need a reason, crazy. You don't.
so you're like, "Oh, wait. Okay." For those of you who are like, "What does he mean by right-minded?" He's talking about this arrow up here. That is the mind. So mine is a right facing arrow here. So that's what that is. Danny, you're not frozen, are
Oh
you?
my gosh,
Because
you
you look
froze.
real.
Oh, no,
Oh my God, you are frozen. Oh, there you go. You're moving again. Yeah. So there's that. And now I'm like,
I'm not
oh,
frozen.
this is. Oh, you. Okay. Is anyone else noticing that? Danny, say something.
Yeah, we were both freezing for a moment, but you
Oh,
freeze
weird.
and then I
Oh,
clicked a little bit. It was a little bit. It was glitching
weird.
out. But-
Weird. Oh, that's no good. Hopefully we're like fixed
So we
now,
were just
right?
saying right-mindedness. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can
Yeah.
I can hear you. Yeah, your voice was coming in clearly. It's just your camera was freezing. Um
Um,
so yeah, the so I will preface that I am hanging around in a group of people that are infinitely more knowledgeable and deeper in their experiment and smarter than I am. So, like Danny and Moni, who can just rattle off gates and things, I am not there yet. Not there yet. So when I look at those numbers,
we're
I'm like,
washing
I don't
off
know,
on you, Moana. We're washing out. We're washing off
right?
on you.
So when I look at a 36, 22, 37, I have no idea what those are. Zero idea. But when you say they're unconscious, I'm like, that's cool.
Right.
What are those numbers? I'll get to it when I get to it. I'm not going to put that
Right.
pressure on myself
But
to like learn it all because, like anyone who's getting into their human design experiment, right? There's a lot going on in this chart. There's a lot of numbers, there's a lot of symbols, there's like arrows, and it's like, whoa. So the way I'm doing it is actually through our broadcasts. I'm building one layer at a time. So, I started out real easy with my type, then I went into my authority, right? So if you look at our streams, treat it like a textbook. It's like,
Right.
okay, you're building off of each other. So if you're like completely brand new to the stream or, our replay, like go back, watch your type episode, watch your authority episode, then start going through the centers because that's us building. Because guess what? We're going to keep building. Once we're done the centers, then we're going to get into the lines. And then we're
Yeah.
going to get into the profiles. And then we're going to get into channels. So I'm learning with you guys. So yeah, Danny, when you ask me about those numbers, I have no idea. Yeah, sure, unconscious
No,
emotions
but I made sure
stuff.
to keynote them for you. I made sure to keynote
Sure.
them for you. Yeah, and they made sense to you. I mean, you got it. Basically what I was.
Right. Yeah, and there's two waves. So for those of you who are like, what are they talking about? So I have two channels here, right? 35, 36.
Yep.
So that makes one wave. What wave is this? The
Oh,
tribal
the
one,
crash
right?
wave. That's a crash wave. It's the experiential crash wave. It has expectations and it has
Oh,
a sense of crisis that it's inexperienced and doesn't know if it's going to work out. And so
yes. What
it's
was it?
very
It's the
crisisy.
symptom. Expectation hangover was like I was the kingdom holder of that. I
Yeah,
would have
because gate
expectations
35
up
is,
the wazoo. I'm
yeah,
like, I
gate.
expect you to do this and that and this. And when they didn't do it, I'm like, I want nothing to do
Listen,
with you. Get out of my life.
what you're talking about is the establishment of principles and the friction that you will or won't put up. That's 49 and 6. You're talking about deep values that will they be part of any bargains? That's 37. All unconscious in you. So this is shit just
Oh,
making itself
right
up
here.
in the now. You don't know it just comes in on you. And then you act it out, and that's like correct for you. And 22 is what you're aware of. It's like I'm hearing this stuff. I don't know. I hear it, or I hear a little bit. It's sort of bullshit. It's not bullshit. No, this is great. So you're aware of what you're hearing essentially, and what you feel might be a little open to. What's the friction gonna close? What's the friction gonna get less for? Because I'm opening up a little more because what 22 says I'm hearing, left ear hearing. So it's very
22
experientially
here.
kind of, yeah, it's kind of more of experiential hearing. And then 36, which is I'm this crisis. There's a little fire going on. There's an
Yeah.
expectation up there. They shot me out of a cannon. It says I'm supposed to hit my target. I don't know if I will.
Yeah. And it's just
That's
like,
it's
oh,
got
oh
that
my
feeling.
gosh. So this is
Yeah.
this is one of them, right? The 35, 36. No, what I was asking is it says a tribal channel, right?
No, that is the experiential
So the
collective.
collective. Sorry.
The
So this is the
collective.
collective one. See, every time I look at it, I learn it again.
Yep.
And we have
Collective.
the
This is the tribal one.
4919 is the
Tribal one.
tribal one. Now here's why that's important. If you have a defined solar plexus, again, if you haven't watched our emotional authority episode, go back and do that. I have two waves, not one. So if you have this defined, you can have either one, two, or three waves.
Yep. Yep.
Have fun.
Yep. Have fun. Have at it, y'all.
So you
You
don't
got a
know.
lighter? Smoke them up.
You don't know at what point which wave is going up and which one's down.
Yeah, you do. As soon as you
I,
start watching,
as soon as
you
I
start to
start
feel it. As soon
observing,
as
right? I could be
more
like,
and
oh, is
more and
this a
more.
tribal thing or is this a
Well, the
collective
tribal
thing?
thing always speaks to needs and necessities and sensitivities that
Oh,
are not part of this bargain, and you're sort of being what the principals asked for in the first place. And
yes.
it's a little bit sensitive here, and it's sort of personal. That's the
This is
inside wave,
true. This
and
is
when
what
and
my most recent crisis was. Maybe it was in
and it
1949,
ratchets
going
forward.
like, this was not it.
Yeah, right,
This is
right,
not
right.
what I bargained for. This is
So
not
watch.
correct behavior.
Yeah, watch. So that ratchets forward, but it takes a step back because the tribal wave has support as a super keynote. So it's like, well, I'll see what I can. It sort of grins and bears for a second because that's what you do when you're in a community and a tribe. You don't just storm in on everyone every time something happens. You got to grin and bear a little bit of stuff as soon as you're in a
hmm
community, right? And
So
then, but
this
the
is handy for
ratchet, but
everybody.
but
Ratchet
then
up like
when it
this.
ratchets to its final step, because ultimately the infringement and the interference, which ultimately Gate 21 speaks to more than anything, any kind of use of force is justified in the face of persistent interference. You know what I mean? To the
Mm,
truth in this case. And then the experiential wave will go through, I had this expectation and it came crashing down, and now you get double
yes.
sad.
Yeah.
Double
Oh,
sad.
double sad.
Double
Yep.
sad.
Don't mess
You
with
got a
me when
four
I'm
barrel
double
going.
sad.
Yep. Double
Good
D's,
t-shirt.
baby, double everything. Yes,
My double D's are double sad.
yes,
This is a great point from Mini Moni, right? So there's three different types of waves, but they can come from seven possible channels,
yep. Thank you, Moni. That's exactly correct. Yep. And
right?
technically, there's a lot of talk about, and I would submit that there is a fourth wave, and it's the 59.6, the source wave.
Oh no, that's
So,
definitely a thing in our slides when we did the
yep,
authorities. But yeah, those are you have to have your sacral defined usually, right? To have the 59, or it doesn't matter.
yep. Do you need the 59 and the 6 to have
Yeah,
that
the
but
59 and
whole
6
channel?
to make
That
the
would
thing.
that's
But
sort of a
yes, let's
different
move
flavor, but
along
moving
to the
on.
sacral. So you can see mine is white. It's undefined. So yes, I spent a lot of time grinding and doing and noticing I'm getting nowhere.
With all the keynotes of the show not being known at the time, right?
Hmm.
Finding that balance, getting that rest, sliding into the thing, letting your adrenals work the right way,
So
all the stuff.
I'm going to tell you a fun story. So one of the things I enjoy doing when I'm living in an area with lots of mountains is hiking. I love hiking, but I noticed something interesting about my body. I can never do a hike longer than 5 hours. After 5 hours, my body would actually start buckling over and it will not move. And then now that I know human design, I'm like, wonder if that's my
That's
undefined
a thing.
sacral.
Yeah, that's a thing.
And
Look at the
I
thing.
very clearly know. I'm like, I've tried anything over 5. It's like someone's gonna have to bring me down in a helicopter. It's not
Hun,
happening.
hun, think about it. The generator condition. So the generators and the manifestors have been the two biggest conditioning forces conditioning each other, you know? And so
Mhm,
the generator conditioning on you is just as profound as the stupid manifestor conditioning that came in on us all the time. Um,
mhm.
it's to get you literally the generator conditioning you were experiencing in that moment was literally one of I lost my train of thought. Fuck. What was the thing you said?
I was saying I can't. Oh, so for example, there was a very epic hike called Dinosaur Ridge, and
Dude, now
that
you can
hike
know.
is
I
nine
remember it.
hours.
Now you
Tell
can
me.
know to start to be happy with 3.5 hours because it gives you a half hour for what ifness.
Hmm.
And you start to realize it was the generator conditioning that made me try to always go right up to the wall. Keep going. Go right up to the wall before you go to sleep. Go right up to the wall on your hike.
Hmm.
Go maybe you'll go a little past the wall.
Hmm.
What's past the ring, past not? Moana would ask, what is out there? So what
Yeah.
happens
So
if I go
there's
past my halfway point? Whatever.
right. So the hike that I really wanted to do, right? It's called Dinosaur Ridge. It takes 9 hours if you start at dawn and you keep going nonstop. And
I
I'm
got an
like,
idea.
my body won't do it.
Let's
I'd
hire
love to do it.
slaves to carry you with some
Right?
Egyptian
In those
music.
like thingies. What
Yeah,
are those
yeah,
thingies
and it with
called?
the fan. You need a fanner.
Right?
So
I'm just
about
like,
eight,
there's no way this is happening. I'm just gonna take
eight
pictures.
slaves, because one of them's got to carry the water you got to sip on, and then right,
Right? And so
and
there's
one's got
the
to feed
other
the
thing
pig.
that I noticed. So I always hiked in groups, right? I never hiked alone. And these groups, the pace that they did, I could never keep up. And guess what? I was always at the back, and there would be like almost like a shepherding dog person be like, okay, everyone's way ahead of you. Come on, you need to keep up. Everyone's already waiting at the summit for you. And I'm like, I'm going as fast as I can. And like, as much
Right.
as my body wants to keep up with the group, guess what? It wasn't. And I was
Generator
going as fast as
conditioning.
I could.
That lady was the epitome of generator conditioning with manifestor freaking impact. Both. She's a real clusterfuck. That one.
Right.
Excuse my
So
language.
yeah, those are my fun
Sorry.
hiking stories that relate to the sacral. It's like I know I won't keep up with the group. I'm gonna go kind of slow, and I can't do more than 5 hours. Just not
Interesting note
happening.
for you. Interesting note on how to read this whole sacral of yours. Whenever you're
Hmm.
looking at a center that we're focused in on, or you in your own body graph, and you're looking at your stuff, first thing to do is, are there any activations in it? Are there any activations pointing towards it?
Oh,
look at
Okay.
yours. Let's identify yours that are doing
So
either or.
pointing towards this one over here, the
Yep,
6 to the
yep,
59, we got the 50 to the
yep,
27, and
yep.
pointing away is these three, which I found out are format
If you say
channels.
pointing away, make sure you rephrase that to in my sacral, activated within the sacral. Never mind pointing at it.
Oh,
Activations
right,
within the sacral are
activated, pointing towards the root.
pointing
But
towards
yes,
anything else, but
or
yep,
pointing towards
sacral
that. But
activation.
yes, apparently these three are special called format channels, which I don't know a whole lot about, but I'm sure Danny, you'll enlighten me.
Well, yeah, the format channels are they actually become the main theme for the circuitry that sits down below. So all of the individual circuitry will be formatted by the individual pulse, and that's the definition of the format for the individual 63. Gate
Huh.
60 and gate 3. You have gate 3. So gate 3
Oh,
is always
here.
in a pulse of coming to sudden ordering. Always in a pulse of coming, and that sudden ordering now informs the rest of all of the individual knowing circuit, all 26 gates or 22 gates, all of it. It informs it.
Mhm.
That's just a thing. It formats how that thing will function. All of these do it, and the two on the outside, the 9 and the 42, are part of the collective, always to be
Mhm.
shared. So those, but just that you have all three of them, never mind what is the format stuff. That's too complicated to really explain
Right.
now.
That's a
It's
whole
just
other episode. I'm
it's
just
just a
saying
keynote
they're
piece.
there.
Yeah, it's just a keynote piece. So one is completion, the other is ordering, the other is the taming power of the small, the great ability to focus on the small things suddenly with energy to finish it. So you've had plenty of times where suddenly you're focused on a bunch of small things that are all finishing elements and they feel great because ordering took place and you feel like completing it.
Yeah, that
Boom.
happened
This is your
today.
sacral theme. This is your sacral theme. They're like cannons. That's your sacral cannon. When it kicks on, let that cannon
Yeah,
fire. Let it sing
it
Old
happened.
Glory,
I was
man.
telling
Yeah.
Moni, I got so for those of you
So
who
it's your
aren't
sacral
aware,
superpower. It's your
yeah,
intermittent sacral superpower.
it's so
Allow it.
nice because I
And
got the bingo
well,
cards done, Danny. The first set, the 1-3 bingo cards.
oh,
I've
nice.
completed them today.
Right. And it feels good. It
It
feels good.
feels
And
so
when you,
good. And I told Moni, I'm like, you know what? I feel like doing the bingo cards. I don't want to look at the slides today. Forget
right.
the slides. Bingo cards. So for those of you who are like, what is she talking about? We are having something called a profile line party, and
Mm.
we are going to have every profile come on the show.
Is Moni still there?
Moni will come on. She's still futzing about.
Okay.
And we're going to have them play profile line bingo. So I have characteristics of each profile, and they're going to come on and play bingo, similar to the stream where we brought on Kip, but this time it's like characteristics. But yeah, I got the first one done, and I can thank these. Which channel did the thing? Which one? 42 or 9? Which one helped me
The
finish
three of
those
them.
cards?
These are your cannons. It's like it's all three of them, focusing on the details because the view of it in a magical pulse of creativity suddenly returned and became in order. Now it didn't know what order it is. The order, the sacral is this muscle. It's like the bully, and it just forced it into order. And as it was emerging in order, you couldn't even tell what order is this going to be. You just went with the emergent order,
Exactly. I
and
am
the
like, I don't
order
know what this
showed
is
up
gonna look like.
through
Let's
to
just do it.
completion.
Yeah.
42 through to completion. And that's the ultimate formatting of where we get shared. Well, you ask what is a format? Even this gate. The format
Oh.
gate of completion says all of the collective sensing abstract circuitry will be formatted if this gate is present to want to complete its process.
Oh.
And so everywhere in the whole world, since as you put enough people together, of course, you have all those channels and all those gates. Humanity is a emotional manifesting generator driven to try and complete stuff and focus on the taming power of the small and emerge into order like I don't know what but like that.
Right. Amazing. Thank you for that. All these visuals. And then the last center that we are going to look at is my root. So I have a defined root. So I always felt very intrinsically motivated to do things. It's like I
Yeah,
want to do this because I want to do this. No one's
I want.
making me do this.
Right.
This is
And if
what I
someone tried
want.
to make they couldn't. And if someone
No.
tried to make you not, they couldn't. You just had to steady your pressure moved them. Again,
Yeah.
aligned with your aura.
It's still the same. It's just like, oh, you want to do? I'm like, no. No part of that sounds fun.
But
Let's
us
not
open
do
root
that.
people, me open root, would be like, well, I'd be under pressure. I better say yes. You know what I mean? Just as a knee jerk, not self, how to get rid of that pressure as quickly as possible. Just say yes. So
Mm.
that whatever, maybe they have an emotional weight, maybe it doesn't matter. They're another being coming in, asking a thing, and suddenly my open enveloping aura forces me to respond. That's all I am. I'm
Mm.
responding. Just say yes. It's easiest. The easiest thing right now is to say freaking yes. Just say it.
Oh yeah, no, not for
For
me.
sure.
Yeah, and if
And
there's
not for
pressure,
you.
right? Like if there's like a
Not for you.
crazy time crunch,
Right.
I am able to hold my own. So the craziest thing I've done, actually it ended up with me being in a fever, is I
Timekeeper.
what?
The root center is a master timekeeper,
Yeah,
by
so
the
I
way.
I did something crazy where I was in Japan and I not lived. I visited an area that's like on top of a mountain. The only way to get to it is by cable car and then a special train and then another train. And I decided I was going to catch a flight that same day and I timed it all perfectly. I timed from the Buddhist temple I was staying at to catch the bus, to catch the cable car, to catch the train, to catch the other train, to catch the subway, to catch my plane. I did it. I like
That's your
lined that
sacred
all up.
that's your sacral triple guns, man. That's what that is. Showing up intermittently when ordering needs to take place. It all serves the individual gate 3.
I
The
managed to
Ju
catch the flight, but then right after I got into Tokyo, I ended up with a raging fever.
Of course.
My
Not saying
body
you
was
did it
like, that
right,
was
but
not
they're
good.
there.
Let's
Right.
not do that ever again. And I'm like, okay, lesson
Well, in an
learned.
emergency situation, if you ever know, it's like, well, to save my children, I'm going to burn myself out. It'll be along the lines of doing this.
Yeah, see, I've experienced it, but yeah,
Yep.
that is it for my body graph. I know Moni's like, come on, let's go home now. Um,
Is that what you like, Moni? Okay.
this is the
Oh, we can't
longest
hear you.
we've streamed for a long time, but yeah, we're not able to. You're muted, that's
I
why.
was, I was, I was.
But yeah, oh my gosh, that was our last episode of our center series. So
Well,
thank
hold
you.
on, hold on. Moni, any comments about the
Oh
body
yes,
graph?
sure.
About
I mean, I was
Mona's
like,
body
I
graph?
was writing my little comments throughout on the Twitch. So little ones there and there. I mean,
Questions or
it
any
was
questions or anything? No's a good answer.
it probably no. Yeah, I was just
Okay.
enjoying it and then writing
Yeah.
my little commentary on the Twitch and just yeah, and
Yeah.
enjoying it. It was nice. I was laying down, taking care of my undefined sacral. It was super great.
Beautiful. I didn't mean to ask a tough question, by the way, in the beginning. I mean, as it relates, I just wanted to get to the juiciest thing, and suddenly there it was staring at me. But thank you for holding space during that. Well, and I really appreciate that.
No, I mean I appreciate you guys. This stream would not be happening without Danny's brilliance, but he already knows
Thank
that.
you.
And then, Moni just being amazing and just like having all the insightful
Mhm.
things and like
Mhm.
I'm like,
Mhm.
like this is a dream team and like, our mod
We're
over
a
there
freaking
behind the
dream team,
magic,
dude. Yes.
right?
Yes,
We
we
don't
are the
even give
dream
out
team.
we needed more shout outs to our mod, Jess
Yeah.
10 Alchemist. You are a magician indeed.
Is
Thank you
Jess
for
here? Hi, Jess.
she's always in our chat, so she's working her magic there. But
Yes,
yeah,
thank you. Thank you,
you
Jess.
don't do too much yet. Don't give yourself more credit, friend. So yes, that was us. So starting next week, we're going to do the 6 lines. So come with their body graphs. It's going to be a good time.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and Danny,
We'll show the evolution of these lines and we'll show how it's sewing up our genome. We're going to tie in certain things that are the chemistry again, so you can keep the science of this all in mind. And then also go through just this mystical process of our evolution, which is lines 1 through 6, you know?
ooh, so it's
Yeah.
going to be really deep and juicy, and it's
You
again
see.
foundational stuff before you start playing with profile. So
Yep. Yep. The
that's
foundations
we're
of the lines.
building, right?
Yeah, the
We are
lines and what
building.
the hell they're doing. So, by the way, so just to preface these lines, I'm not going to go into the details of them, but what are they? I mean, each hexagram has its 6 lines. We already know there's lots of these lines. They have such specific definition of what's going on as it
Mm,
relates to the rich and juicy ability to keynote its function mechanically within our genome. that you are helpless to if you carry the dang line. Absolutely helpless in its owner's manual, operating, base knowledge stuff that you'll understand, you'll certainly resonate with, and then you'll get to know. So it's really the line set up the motion of what the hell. It's the whole human design system, technically. So
Oh, so
yeah,
yes, it's going to be really, really good. And then we're going to start our crazy massive endeavor of the profile line parties. So again, thank you all
one for
so
a
much.
projector. All call to. I have not found one. The one I thought that was one was not.
Oh, wah, wah. It's okay. We'll work on it. But
Yeah.
we're doing it. So thank you so much, our viewers. Like, we wouldn't be doing this show if people weren't watching. We'd be like, oh, well, 0 viewers. What's the point? So thank you so
I do
much
it.
for. Oh, yeah. I mean, you'd speak out to like an empty forest, right? But yeah,
Yeah.
I'd be like, what's the point? But
Excuse
no,
me, it's
you
not empty if I'm in it. It's nice and full.
all this there you go, there's that,
Mhm.
there's that. But yes, you viewers keep this show possible, so live replay all of it, thank you so much. And if you enjoyed our show, like, please subscribe, share with your friends. Like, we're giving away like amazing knowledge, and it is life changing stuff. Like, you are not going to be the same if you not only tune in but you actually start applying it. And we put a lot of love and effort into every stream, so we truly appreciate your support. And we're all growing together, with content, and plus, seeing more and more people show up and asking your questions. So it's absolutely delightful. So thank you so much. Wouldn't be
Uh,
possible without you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, everyone.
Have a good night, everyone. Take care. Bye bye.